Okay. Hello, everybody. And here we go. Everything seems to be all right. Hello. Stream's okay here. It's okay here. And here we go. And we are live once again from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Everything seems okay. Streaming, CPU load is nice. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave radio show. We are here every Fridays at 2000 hours Universal Time. And of course, we're here to entertain, have fun listening to the radio, and hope that you will have fun with us. There's a nice chat room. And of course, this is the first show 2019. Woohoo! New year. And hopefully it's going to be a good one. Hey, let's get a beer. I need a beer. Back to the fin du monde. As the stock of beer has been kind of going down because of the holiday season. And they haven't received all the ones that I like. So I reverted back to a fin du monde for this show. I got a 6-pack of fin du monde. I won't drink all 6 because I'll be really drunk, but we'll have 2 or 3. The usual number. Nice to have everybody here. My name is Joe. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is a show where we talk about shortwave radio, anything below 30 megahertz in general. Of course, we throw in some questions and stuff that go with any types of radio listening, and hope that you enjoy. So I've got my SDR Play RSP1A here. I decided to put, because for the past 2 nights, there's been a lot of skip on the 11 meters. So I decided to put this radio on 27025 and wait and leave the volume at a low level. If I hear anything, I think it's going to be interesting. It's a great way to know what's happening. Last week when I ended the show, about an hour after, this was on 11 meters, and all these little spikes started showing up. It's like, whoa, there's propagation. So some sporadic E-skip happened, and it happened this week also a couple of times. So we'll check that out during the show, of course. So welcome to 2019, a new year of shows once again. This is my 7th year doing YouTube. When you think about it, it's like, wow, 7 years have passed since the first time that I was getting serious with YouTube videos. Incredible. 7 years. And a lot of things happened in 7 years, I can tell you that. So, hey, Tio, nice to have you on the chat. Pretty cool to see you here. Elton Byington, nice to have you on board. K3JWA in Baltimore. David Snyder's got his new RSP1A. Hope you're enjoying it. And now you'll be able to set it up on Global Tuners. Cool. We'll be checking that out. Staten Island. And, well, hope you enjoy it. I really, really enjoy my RSP1A. It's really amazing. Mark Cope, nice to have you here. And says that 20 meters has been really good in Dallas. Richard Cook, nice to have you on board, my friend. Bobby Burgess, WA5107SWL in Louisiana. Matambali in Colorado, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Jared X, hey, nice to have you on board. TV Radio 1972. And says, hello from one of your new subscribers, Michael from New Jersey. Nice to have you here, Michael. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Welcome aboard. We have below 30 megahertz. Nice to have you on board from Valencia, Spain. Happy New Year. Absolutely. Artist Other Crafter's Kitchen, Audio Lab. Greetings from Massachusetts. Nice to have you here. Radio Telescope. Nice to have you on board. Ronald Hester. Nice to have you here. And nice to Nice to have you here. Have you thought about two shows during the winter months, like on Tuesday and Friday? Ronald, I know that there would be a lot of people happy that I have more than one show a week. But the problem is time. Time is a very difficult thing to actually have. I'm a busy guy. I have a lot of things going on at the same time. So having two shows is it doesn't show. Maybe you guys see me here talking for hours at a time, but it's actually very not just time consuming, but it's a big job to sit down and talk for 3 hours in front of the camera. So it's something that could be cool, but at the same time, it takes a lot of preparation and a lot of time to go through these. And there are weeks where we have two shows. We have the Friday and Saturday already, so that is very demanding. And so I know a lot of you would like to have more than one show, for sure. But for now, we're gonna stay at pretty much the schedule we got right now. Matt Boy, nice to have you here. Danny Shortwave Radio DX from Yonkers, New York. Pretty cool. Brett Wayne from Salamanca, New York. Nice to have you here. KC2NXP. Jack N9IIF. Nice to have you here. And David Snyder says my RSP1A is, let me just go back because I lost everything that I was looking at. Ready to hear what you are hearing? A 6010 won't propagate to Staten Island this early. Yeah, well, it depends, the sun sets quite early. I'll try it just for the fun of it, but possibly it's not propagating. There's definitely something. I definitely hear something on 6010 right now. Page Master, nice to have you on board from Moore, Oklahoma. Nice to have you on board. And Moore is the city with the largest tornado ever recorded, being 2.6 miles wide. Wow, that is a hell of a tornado. PLF Radio, bonjour, bienvenue et bonne année. Toujours un plaisir de vous avoir parmi nous de la France. Always nice to have you here, PLF Radio. Happy New Year. Max Headstrong, nice to have you on board. That's weird. Shortwave doesn't work, but AM does. That is so weird. Kenzie Mew, nice to have you here. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board. And by the way, I received I noticed today your email with the magazine. I'll be looking at it through the weekend and possibly talking about it next week. Thanks for sending me that. I didn't know that that magazine existed, honestly. Calvin, 29, nice to have you here. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you on board. W8SWL in Northern Michigan, USA. BBC Madagascar Relay just signed off 7445. That's one of the good frequencies for me. 7445 has been coming in quite good in the afternoons here. What else do we have? Kenzie Mew says not receiving much over along the Atlantic, receiving CRI on 5970. Cool. What else do we have? Alan W. Nice to have you here, Alan. David in Barcelona. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? Nice to have you here. And proud to say that yesterday I happened to be picked as a winner of an AirSpy HF Plus with built-in preselector. Cool. Congratulations for that. Really nice. PageMaster says, my adventure with electronics and RF communication started back in '79 with an episode of The Munsters, where Grandpa was down in his dungeon, was building a radio from scratch with vacuum tubes. That's cool. That's cool. Joe Framo, nice to have you on board. Got Grunix 750 satellite. Just bought a 350S. They're great on FM, AM shortwave. Okay, not the greatest. Well, nice to have you here. Bob Geis, nice to have you here. N2DET. in Long Beach, New York. Bob, nice to have you on board. So, oh, that's weird. Shortwave doesn't work on Go-Low tuners. That's bizarre. Okay. Alan W. bought a JRC NRD345 for Christmas. That's cool. That's a nice radio, actually. And yeah, David Snyder. You know what? Actually, what I like about the fact that, for example, I've been given one by someone else that gave me that as a Christmas gift, if you want, is the fact that I don't owe anything to SDR Play. So by not having a commission or not having anything to do with the companies in which I talk about their radios, I can really be as honest as I can when there are things, the RSP1A is an amazing receiver. It should have 2 antenna inputs so that you could plug both VHF and HF at the same time. I don't think it costs that much to add that, and that's my comment. Now, I know that the more expensive one have both, but now I gotta unscrew the antenna to get the VHF one. I mean, it would have been nice they had 2 inputs so they could put both antennas. Things like that. There's a few little glitches. I'm going to talk about that. I'm having a full review being posted in the next couple of days. I was just like taking notes to have like the maximum amount of information to give out about the device. So, by having no link at all and having no money coming from any of these companies, well, I kind of like that because I can say what I honestly think of whatever device. When you get money, if you get sponsorship for stuff like that, well, the problem is, say I probably have a lot of people that bought Texan receivers because of me. That would probably entitle me to have some, form of compensation, if you want, from Texan. I mean, a lot of people bought it because I said some of the models are good. But at the same time, if I would buy a Texan receiver that is a crappy radio, if I would get paid for that, I'd have a hard time saying it's a crappy radio. I'd have to be careful in choosing the words. Now, if I buy a Texan radio and it's crappy, I can just say it's crappy. So I have the full honesty of, you can't be more honest than that. I want to say what I think and not want to say what I think diluted a little bit because some people are giving me money for it. Mike Anna261, nice to have you on board from Utah. Carl Witzman, nice to have you on board. Happy to have an RSP1A. Cool. Waiting for some antenna parts. Miss Radio Shack. We all miss Radio Shack, I think. Tube to Holland, nice to have you on board. Happy New Year, my friend Paul, PD1PME. And of course, still alive and kicking, hopefully for many years. What else do we have? JD Williamson, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Matt, MDK2, nice to have you here. Checking in briefly. Out at the park with the daughters. Beautiful day here. So enjoy your beautiful day. Here it's an okay day. It's gray, but it's okay. I mean, it's like about 35 Fahrenheit, just above 0 Celsius. KE0 SFC. Fanning Zanakis, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. David Arden, KJ4 CMY, nice to have you on board. And no problem. No problem. Kidsy Muse from Ireland, nice to have you here. Cool. Cool. Yes, I am much better than last week. Last week I felt so darn crappy. It was crazy. Last week I felt like, I don't know, some truck passed over me or something. I really felt rather bad. But no, this week I'm okay. Already on Saturday I was a little better. I could have done the VHF UHF show, but I took a decision that was, you do shows every week all the time. Take a day off And and a lot of you actually went into that direction, saying, you know what, you should take a day off from time to time. It's all right. And that's what I did. I thought, yeah, I'm taking a day off. It's going to be okay. And I mean, with all the festivities and everything. Pretty cool. Shortwave frequency channel. Bonjour. Hi. Nice to have you here. And says listening at Activity Weekend, 27 megahertz right now, AM FM. So cool. CR. Hello. Nice to have you here. PY2NN. Using a flex radio. Wow. Nice to have you here from Brazil. Frédéric F4ECA. Happy New Year. Nice to have you here. Dan Robinson. Nice to have you on board. Hope we might see you during the Shortwave Fest. Unfortunately, I won't be there because of a very complex situation on my side. Sheldon Harvey has been pushing me a lot to get there, but there's a little something that's a little complex right now that is preventing me from joining. I hope to be there next year, though. So we'll be working hard for that and trying to see what I can do. It's because I'm in a little complex situation right now. Max S. says we should be able to demand gel anytime we desire. Gel on demand. Yeah, okay, gel on demand. If I get a substantial amount, gel on demand for $50. Okay, I paid $50. Here's gel on demand. Andy Cully, nice to have you here. Rogerio Rocha, nice to have you here with the Drake SSR1. And pretty cool, pretty cool. Having a lot of fun listening with the Drake. Joseph Ivankovic Jr., nice to have you here. Joseph KE8IDN from Battle Creek, Michigan. NL13851, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Hey, Kevin Wood, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool, pretty cool. William Helms from Florida, nice to have you here. David Snyder has 9475. It's, I believe, WWCR on 9475. If I'm not mistaken. Let me just try it here. I got something really weak. Isn't 49475 WWCR? Or they're not at that time, I don't know. Hardest Alleycrafter's Kitchen. Thinking about doing some medium wave DXing tonight. On the 1925 at Water Kent, amazing sensitivity, no dial calibration. It's a TRF, but fun as anything. Cool. Hey, Oxford Shortwave Log, nice to have you on board, my friend. Bob T, nice to have you here. Happy New Year. Pretty cool. Or WTWW. Yeah, 9475 could be WTWW. Yeah, the RSP2 does have more than one, but the RSP1A should have two. Should have two, My opinion. Even if it would be a $5 more, they should have two. J.D. Williamson says, if you can give an honest opinion about a radio, that could be input for them to improve on. Yeah. Nice to have you here, everybody. Just going down. What the hell was that? My phone just vibrated like 20 million times, and I don't even know where it is. Oh, it's here in the back. So, oh, Twitter. Twitter is buzzing. I changed some of the settings, so what else do we have? Mike Wood, nice to have you here. Pretty nice. TV Radio 72 has a Texan Radio PL606. Pretty cool. Yeah, across the Atlantic. Absolutely. David Snyder, 11900, Monster Signal in French. Let's try that one. 11900. Pretty good.
Voilà, on regarde les messages qui tombent sur WhatsApp. Je parle de gouverneur, lui salut tout ça. Ouais. Voilà, lui salut tout le monde. Et il vous donne heureuse année tous les auditeurs, il salue tout le monde, les auditeurs de Afrique.
Voice of America.
La radio Kaouidjo à Sokobo, qui passe chaque fois aussi notre émission. Et dans le show, hein. Il salue aussi sa fille chérie.
So that's the Voice of America. They have some kind of listener letterbox or something. And it's at this time 2000 from Sao Tome in Africa. This is Sao Tome transmitter site in Africa on 11900. Good signal, Voice of America. 11900. 11930. 11900 is Voice of America from Africa. Yep. D. John, nice to have you on board from Germany. Pretty cool. And David Arden says you deserve a day off. Glad you're better. Yeah, much better. Richard Cook is receiving CHU 7850. I haven't tried 7850 in a while. 7850. Nothing on 7850 for me. Bobby Burgess, there is a beta Linux API driver for the SDR Play that is slated to use the RSP Duo using 2 apps. Huh. Okay. Kind of interesting. Mark Fisher, nice to have you here. PLF Radio, no show tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day off. We'll have 2 shows next week. So only 1 show this week, the one today. And I hope you're going to have some fun. TV radio hearing some ham activity, 3885 weak signal and not SSB. Yeah, 3875, 3880, 3885 are AMers. They like to hang on the AM mode there. They're a bunch of AM lovers, so they're often there. Rough Duff McLeod, good afternoon. Nice to have you on board. 2E0 SGA, Andy, nice to have you on board from the UK. David Snyder's got Radio Vanny Cuba 15140. God, Gilles on demand, says Calvin. God, Gilles on demand. I like that. Let's ask God. Who's God? Oh, it's Gilles on demand. Richard Cook says good news, left 1008 kilohertz a few days ago. Final sign off was yesterday. I saw a post that a lot of the All India Radio domestic shortwave outlets have been turned off on January the 1st. Is anybody hearing All India Radio 9445 by any chance? Let's check it out here. Yeah, it seems to be there, so 9445. And their DRM signal seems to be on 7550. So some of the domestic All India Radio stuff has been put off the air on January 1st. I saw the post this morning. Comms Partisan, nice to have you here from Ohio. Al Catalan, nice to have you on board, my friend. Kenzie Mew says, yeah, RTBF left on New Year's Eve. Absolutely. Joseph Ivankovich Jr., what do you recommend for AM broadcast DXing in a portable unit? Well, for the AM broadcast band, that's a good question. What would be the best AM portable? Anybody would have an answer to that? I could tell you some of the good shortwave ones, but I know that some of the shortwave portables that are really good are actually lacking an AM broadcast band DXing. So I don't know. Does anybody have a suggestion, just out of curiosity, a portable that would be good for AM broadcast DXing? I think I know that the Grundig G5 that I have here is a is a good one for that, but you have to find it used. It's not brand new. You won't find one anymore. So we'll see. Anybody have a suggestion for a good AM broadcast band DXing portable unit? That's an interesting question. Medium wave DXing or AM broadcast band DXing is not something I do a lot. And usually what I use does the job, but it's not necessarily the best. Jason Pongratz, nice to have you here. Happy New Year. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to have all of you here, my friends. Rogerio Rocha says, hey Jill, someone mentioned that Atlantic has no shortwave reception. I'm in the Azores and I can hear 60, 49, 41, 31, 25 meter are getting weaker. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but you know what? One of the biggest problems with when somebody tells me, it happens very often, somebody will tell me, I don't hear this or I don't hear that. Or I don't hear half of what you hear, or I don't want to hear what somebody else is hearing in my area. And one of the biggest aspect of why sometimes we don't hear, and it's probably the number one problem today, has to do with the fact that a lot of what's happening on the bands is noise. And we've got a lot of local noise, unfortunately, and that is a sad fact, for sure. Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you here, Brian, VE7AUL. And no problem. I totally understand that. There's another life, there's other things in life than just sitting down and watching Gilles for a couple of hours. Nice to have you here, my friend. And David says, expecting the day you get your call sign. I'm sure you'll find lots of stations to QSO, me being one of them. So yes, absolutely, David, that I can tell you. It's so funny because I got a little email, and I'm trying to remember who. Somebody sent me an email on New Year's Day saying, hey, Happy New Year, love what you do. And, just want to say that it's the year where you're getting your ticket now. The countdown is on. Oh, man. Steve Frost, Happy New Year. Nice to have you here. And pretty cool to have you here. From 26CT2220 UK. Now using the wideband web SDR from the University of Twente in the Netherlands. It's free, seems to work good. Do you know this site? Yes, absolutely. It's one of the most amazing sites. That is one of the great receivers online to use and tune around. It's just amazing what they do with that thing. Really, truly amazing. Oh, man. So C-Crane. I've heard a lot of people saying C-Crane are good for medium wave. For sure. Arthur's Alley Crafter's Kitchen. Don't understand why C-Crane is so pricey for what they are. I don't know. It has to do with, I guess it has to do with, I don't know. I don't have a C-Crane for that reason. I've, over the years that I've had, possibilities to purchase radios, I always found some cheaper radios that had great performance and bought those before the C-Crane. I'd like to have a C-Crane at some point, though. Just out of curiosity and see how they are. So if C-Crane wants to donate a radio, I'm all willing. Especially since, from what everybody says, they're pretty good. So, if C-Crane isn't scared of me saying what I think of a radio, and if they believe in their radios, why not send me one? You can just, go to officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com and say, hey, we're sending you one. Give me your address. Anyways. Okay. Well, at least the Oxford Shortwave says All India Radio 9445. It's not in Oxford. Richard Cook says it's not in English. Well, I know that it's not in English yet. I think it will be in 15 minutes' time, but at least it's on the air because I know that some of the local domestic frequencies have been turned off on January 1st. 2E0ZA Andy says he has a FRG 7700, loves it. I like the looks of that thing. I always enjoyed the looks of the FRG 7700. I always thought it was a sexy radio. PLF Radio says, Jill, I did some research about slow scan radio channel 292 during 30 minutes. And yeah, that's, well, you know what? I actually also did come across it and wanted to learn more about it once you talked about it, PLF Radio. So that's it. What I've noticed is it's a mix of different transmissions. I actually came across a recording. Somebody had posted a YouTube video of slow scan radio on channel 292. That's where I noticed that, oh, okay, it's slow scan TV, it's MFSK digital modes and all sorts. So it's really like it's like the shortwave radiogram, which is a mix of digital modes in a broadcast, 30-minute broadcast, actually. Oxford Shortwave Log says Sony ICF 2001D. We've used it for medium wave transatlantic DX. Yeah, those are good, absolutely. Those, but you have to find them used, and that's the thing. That's the thing, but they are good. Super Radio through from General Electrics, good for AMDX. But how about like something that is still sold brand new right now? What would be a good broadcast band DXing portable that you can actually use now and buy brand new right now for a reasonable price? So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. You guys are giving me the idea of doing some medium wave DXing tonight. I was reading an article about a guy that his fun is to sit down, park himself on one frequency that's full of noise on the medium wave band or the AM broadcast band, where you hear, those frequencies where you kind of hear like 8 stations or 10 stations at the same time. When you listen closely, you see it's tons of little stations all at the same time. And he battle out, so sometimes one comes a little stronger and then goes back down in the noise, and another one comes back. And that guy spends an evening listening to one frequency only. He doesn't go around. And does that regularly, and he's been DXing some amazing stations all across the United States and Canada just by doing that. And he doesn't have that really big fancy equipment. He just has the patience to sit down and listen for a long time to a channel that seems like a desperate attempt at trying to log something. But it's kind of cool. Best one for medium wave is Grounding G5. Hey, Mickey Dalmage, nice to have you here. Happy New Year from Alberta. Ken Wood was going to suggest G5, E5. Nice loop stick inside. The G5 is an overall winner. I love mine. Grounding G5 is an absolutely superb all-around performer, even for FM DXers. It's like one of those amazing radios that was created, and we don't have a lot of them that are actually that amazing. Christian D'Angelo, nice to have you here. Saludos desde Argentina. Saludos desde Canada. ¿Cómo está? Nice to have you here. David Arden says, my ICF 7600 has good medium wave reception. Too bad Sony isn't making this radio anymore. Yeah, that's one that you can maybe still get. I've noticed a few places where they still have probably what's left in stock if you go around, but they're all going to be sold out at some point, that's for sure. So, And by the way, for those that wonder, I've read a couple of posts that Radio Exterior de España is going to bring back QSL cards. So maybe we can QSL Spain again, which would be very, very nice. Especially now that they're back in English and French. Really nice. Yeah, unfortunately, noise does not QSL, David. We would have tons of those QSLs. Bob says, I recently purchased a C-Crane EP Pro, which is very good for medium wave DXing. I also have a Sangean HDR18 radio, which is actually excellent for AM radio DXing. So thanks for sharing. Nice to have your input here. Grundig Satellite 750 is great on AM also, says Danny Shortwave. Oxford Shortwave logs for medium wave DXing with a modern DSP portable and XH Data D808 or Ethon satellite with a homebrew box loop. Pretty cool. VOA radiogram, nice to have you here. Sorry. Shortwave radiogram starts at 2030. So it's going on right now, 7780. Let's just see if I'm getting the signal here. 7780. It's yeah, I hear slightly the digital noise, the digital transmission from shortwave radiogram. So coming out of WRMI, actually getting stronger now. So I'm hearing the digital mode. So and they're go to the shortwave radiogram website for the schedule. It's a fun little transmission to decode. So nice to have you here, VOA radiogram. Jason Pongrat says a noise coming from his TiVo unit is S7 brutal. Whoa, S7, that's a lot. Richard Cook's got Brazil off frequency on 9664.7. Elton Byington says, take a look at C-Crane's medium wave Redis. Their CC Radio EP Pro is quite sensitive and selective. Radios, probably. Its major drawback is that it's a PLL tune set, so it tends to jump from channel to channel. Okay, interesting. Mark Cope's got Grease on 9420. Let's check it out. 9420. Grease. Pretty good. Pretty good. Matambali has 15580, Voice of America. Jerry DX says C-Crane is excellent on medium wave. Cool. David has a Sony ICF M33RDS FM medium wave radio, which is pretty deaf on FM, but on medium wave it's a whole different animal. And it's pretty sensitive, and AGC performance is quite smooth. Pulls in stations quite easily. Cool. Kelvin says, I have a FRG 7700, too. Lovely receiver to use, although they do tend to drift a bit, but still fun and interactive to use. I remember seeing the FRG 7700 back in the 80s. I think it was in magazines, and thinking how beautiful that radio looked. So it has a sexy look to it. You know, you can't, not all radios look sexy. For example, a Drake R8 is nice, but I can't, you know, some of you probably do. I, for some reason, can't find the Drake radio sexy. But if you look at a Kenwood R5000, or if you look at the FRG 7700, they are sexy. There's something about it, the way they designed it, that just catches your eye. The Drakes are amazing receivers, but they are kind of more like a, you know, rectangle box with tuning with buttons. It's missing that sexy look to it, I find. But that's me. Maybe you guys that have one find it really sexy. And yes, if you are just tuning in, we are talking about the sexiness of radio receivers. Danny Shortwave says, my Texan CR1100 DSP is quite good. Picked up Cuban medium wave. Wow. Cool. 9330 should technically be WBCQ. Do I get it? I've got absolutely nothing here, but technically it should be WBCQ. What else do we have here? Archer's Alley Crafter's Kitchen says the Turk AM Advantage passive loop is fantastic. I'm sure the Grundig and Texan are virtually identical. I would need to, you know, it's something I've never I've never done. But I should take out my Grundig G5 and for example, my Texan PL 680 and compare medium wave, maybe with different portables. See which one is better at receiving the stations. That could be a nice set of videos, actually. What else do we have? Kevin Wood says Longwave was really hot last night. I see posts of all of the people receiving these signals here in North America from European medium longwave stations, and I was like, I hear nothing, but I have so much noise, you know. Andy says, I'm new to your channel. Do you have a video of your antenna setup? I've got old videos that are there for my antenna setup. You know what? I'll do another set of videos that I'll post this week, kind of refresh my antenna setup videos. I think that's going to be a good idea because things have changed. Probably things have changed since the last time I changed my antenna setup videos. So I'll try to post that in the next week or so, handy, so you can check it out. So pretty cool. What else do we have? What else do we have? Miguel Almash says, I believe the AM frequencies you mentioned about sitting on for a long time to hear what pops up is called graveyard channels. Yeah, the graveyard channels. He basically goes on these graveyard channels and sits there, and he will listen in for a full evening trying to make out something out of what's in there. CFRA Radio, shall at your location, you may have lots of local medium wave stations. I'm wrong about that, so it may be hard for you to medium wave DX. Well, I do have a lot of medium wave stations locally here in Montreal. We do have quite a few, but it doesn't necessarily make my DXing difficult. Yes, I can't listen to medium wave stations on specific frequencies already taken by local AM stations, but I still technically could DX. The noise level is more of a problem than anything else. But I often tune around a lot of US stations out of like Boston and New York at night. Last night I was listening in. Actually, I wanted to test. I have this little, I'm going to show you guys. I've got this little portable that I've constructed, an Elenco. A lot of people asked me questions about this last time I was showing my radios. And so this is the receiver. This is a little receiver that you get a kit and build it yourself. And last night I turned it on and I started tuning in. I was wondering if I could actually get some US stations. And I actually was listening to Bloomberg 1130 from New York on this. So it's for a small, home-built little portable. It actually does get stations from the US. And I was like, wow, okay. The only thing missing is that the selectivity isn't that great, so it actually has more difficulty separating stations. But it is sensitive. I mean, I got New York on 1130 on it yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It never occurred to me before yesterday to turn it on and see if I can hear, some of the US stations on medium wave. Mantambale. Let's try 15140. Do I hear Cuba? Very weak here. It's really in the noise. Very weak Cuba here. But I believe it's antenna orientation for Cuba is towards the west coast. Piet Mondrian student, nice to have you here. David says, wow, your Spanish is really good, Jill, a bit more, and it's perfect. Richard Cook's got radiogram on 7780. Al Catalan, I do have a ferrite rod antenna for some Sony radio. What is the best way to connect it to an RSP1A? Variable capacitor, that value do I need? That's a good question. That there must be a way for sure. It's some people probably have better answers than I would have for that, but it could be interesting to attach a ferrite rod antenna to an RSP1A and see how it goes. Especially if you think of the direction, the direction finding capacity of ferrite rod antennas. By just turning the antenna a little bit, you can actually null some stations and DX. So David says, I'll have to try and send a reception report to the manufacturer of my noisiest Walmart. Calvin says, Sony 7600 and Texan PL 680, awesome receivers. James Hauser, nice to have you here. Was Santa good to you? I've been keeping a sharp eye on you. What did you do with the pretzel bites? Probably all of them have been eaten during the holiday times. You got pretzel bites next to you. Of course, every time you look, especially when it's next to the radio. So every time you look at the radio, you look at the pretzel bites. So of course, you eat some all the time. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and after a few days, there's no more. Well, Santa was good early because I have 2 viewers that were very generous. One with the SDR Play RSP1A, Simon Templar, Jack N9 IIF also, with a very nice gift of a Yisu FT450. Actually, I've got his, I believe this is, I've got his QSL here that I've kept. So this is so I've got early amazing Christmas gifts this year, I gotta say, and made my Christmas. And of course, there's Fastload, my friend Fastload, that you guys see in the chat room from time to time. He was here on Christmas Eve for my little party, and he brought me the Toshiba RPF11 portable analog. That is I've been showing in a few videos. Just an amazing little portable radio. Really, really, really nice to have that for sure. Oxford Shortwave Log says, got radio voz missionaria for 9664.7. Let me try it here, just for curiosity. Do I hear anything? I got it because I can see that I've got the pterodine. When I put myself in upper sideband and go down, I can hear that there's something there and it's off frequency. Matambali says he thinks his R8 is sexy, but I've been in a long-term relationship with it. Page Master, what are your thoughts about this site? It is a web-based SDR. Yeah, the University of Twente. This is an amazing site. What is very cool about that website is the fact that they actually have pretty much custom-built hardware. And it's just crazy. And the amount of people at the same time that can be logged in there is just nuts. Sensitivity is really, really cool. This is one of the best. The University of Twente website is one of the best, for sure. Oxford Shortwave Log says that his JRC and RD525 has a lot of sex appeal. Yeah. Absolutely. Arthur's Alley Crafter's Kitchen bought the ICOM R71A and Grandic Satellite 800 because they look sexy. I do buy radios that just look sexy, actually. EXN Tri-K, XN Tri-K or whatever. Just tuned in. Great idea for a show. Thanks. Nice to have you here. Please give us your location. Where are you located, my friend? Dennis Barjitsi. For me, sexiness is all about huge knobs. Oh, God. Danny Shortwave says passed on a Drake a few times on eBay. Happy with his Kenwood R2000 and FRG 7700 from Yisu. So it's pretty cool. Expert Shortwave Log says is SEX80 wideband antenna for Vox and FT8TX as sex appeal. Also low. Elton Byington. I have an original R8, R8B sexy. They are not, but they are superb performers. Yes, absolutely. That's what I was saying in the beginning. They are amazing radios. Sexy is not exactly what I would call such a radio. But yes, they are absolutely amazing receivers. But they're more like a little clunky than sexy. Hey B, nice to have you here. If you're looking for a cheap medium wave DXing radio, why not look at the cheap little Elpa ERC57 WR. It is made in the same Redson factory as the little C-Crane Radio SSB and Skywave. Huh, interesting. I didn't even know about that one. Vancouver Island DXer, I agree with you about the R8. When buying a tabletop receiver many years ago, I just could not bring myself to buy one despite the very good technical reviews. You know, let's be honest. When I bought my Kenwood R5000, the Drake R8, original Drake R8, I believe, was also available. And if I had a choice between both, I think I still would have chosen the Kenwood R5000 because I thought it was just a killer sexy thing. And I knew performance was pretty good anyways. But technically, the R8, I believe, was technically slightly superior to the R5000 for reception. JDX says, I guess 6 meter was active last night, didn't check for today. So, pretty cool. Alicrafter's SX42 is the sexiest looking boat anchor ever. A lot of these are very sexy, old, really amazing receivers for sure. Does a Texan PL380 count as a DXing machine? Okay, you know what? It depends what DX means for you. I mean, Texan PL380 is very sensitive and can really bring out amazingly weak signals. Where I probably don't count it as a DXing machine is because compared to other radios that I've got, it's missing that edge, that little something that's going to give it that really, amazing thing that's needed for receiving that weak signal. And it lacks in some of the more expensive receiver bells and whistles and gizmos that tend to make a radio. There are things, for example, the RSP1A. If you look at that SDR for the price that it costs, it is, a leap of about $50 more than a PL380. And I mean $50 more is not that much more. Yet the features of this bring it as a DXing machine. The PL380, I think the drop-off point, there's a sensitivity point where you see that signals just don't make it, where another radio will actually still get that signal just enough so you can listen to it. So, I would say that it's a great set. It's a great set even for weak signal listening. For me, it wouldn't be in a DX machine because it lacks a little bit. And it lacks some features that would make it a DX machine. But it is in the ultralight list, those little portables that some people just try to DX the world with. And I can tell you, if you go and see these guys that are crazy nuts about bringing cheap little portables and DXing the world with them, you'll be amazed at what they can achieve with the little radio like a PL380. And I mean, a PL380 on a long wire is a surprisingly sensitive and interesting device. And for the price that it is, it's pretty cool. JD Williamson loves is TS440. What else do we have? Mark Fisher, some of the C-Crane radio have patent twin ferrite coils on their EP Pro and EP Pro Enhance. Also the C-Crane 2E. Oh, that's interesting. So they have this little edge. They have these little things that help. Hey, Mark Schmidt from Maine. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Untitled Chapter says, my son and I built the Alinco FM radio. It was a blast. Now, I want to build the AM radio that's part of my Radio Shack 300 in one electronics kit. I had one of those kits, the Radio Shack. I had the one that I really, really loved. I had a AM radio that I had built in one of the electronic kits. There was a solar electronic kit. And when the kit, at one point, I was giving the kit away to a nephew or I think it was a nephew. He was kind of interested, and it was like I was growing out of it. But I had taken a picture of that, the schematic, because I wanted to recreate that radio. And I actually did at some point when I was maybe, 16 or 17. I wanted to do like a fun little weekend project. I had saved a solar panel from a broken electronic calculator. And I had purchased the transistors and everything needed. I had stolen the capacitor, the tuning capacitor, and the coil, the antenna ferrite rod from a old AM radio that didn't work anymore. And what I had done is take that, make the radio, and once I knew it was working, I had it in an extra circuit. I used the LM series. This one is the 386, which is a little amplifier. So I had that chip with some parts next to it and a little speaker, and that would amplify the output of the little solar AM radio. And I would listen to it. And in the summertime, because back when I was 16 or 17, from time to time I would still listen to music on AM rather than FM. And I would just bring that out and tune the music, because for me it was like just amazing. I would put the little solar panel in sunlight, and the thing came alive with AM signals. It was a lot of fun. And man, I kept that for a couple of years. And then one day, I don't remember, I did a cleanup, and it disappeared. I never found it again. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if I accidentally threw it in the garbage without really knowing that it was maybe in a box somewhere. But man, I had a lot of fun with that. And it was, for me, it was so amazing. It was like one of those mysteries of life. You put the little solar panel in sunlight, and it has that radio working, and it receives signals. And I love the electronics, so with that little chip and the amplifier part, it just looked cool. And it was on a little breadboard that I had actually all soldered the stuff together. And really, it looked awful, but it just worked, and it was amazing. And boy, I had a lot of fun with that. I should do something. The time is missing, because even today, if I had more time on my hands, one of the things I would love to do is actually, have some kind of weekend project, electronics something to build, or I often look at schematics on the internet to build stuff. And I often look at the schematics and I'm like, oh man, I should take the time, buy the parts, and build something like that. The other day I was looking at a nice little amplifier. It was like a 10 watt audio amplifier, and good quality. It had a lot of parts. It was really meant to be a high quality amplifier and very low noise. And I was like, I should buy all the parts and do it. And there's this really amazing thing that when you actually create build something yourself, it's just so cool, and you just like really wanna, it's kind of enjoyable. You just build something and it works. It's just so cool, anyways. So just amazing. So we're at 1 hour mark already. 1 hour mark. 137 watching. And hey, 1 hour and the beer's gone. It's nice to have you here. Just do a little self-promotion here. I haven't checked it out. And if you want donations, please think a little something. It helps out. Helps me continue what I do. And it's much appreciated. You can join 11 patrons right now on patreon.com/radio and shortwave. And just, radio and shortwave, right? No, radio and computers. I was radio and computers. Of course, you can also send donations through PayPal if you want to. Send a little something, paypal.me/shortwave, or you just send it to the Yahoo email that you see here. And here we go. Thanks for the donations, guys. I will fit up with a beer number 2 as we start this new year of shows. And here we go. Right smack in the middle. Let's fill this up and cool the beer. You're watching the Shortwave Show. This is a show every Fridays, 2000 hours Universal Time. And we talk about radio. My name is Gilles, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And welcome aboard, everybody. And once again, thanks to everybody that donated in 2018. Nice, always nice to have donations, and does help a lot, and make me continue buying the equipment I need to continue doing the live shows. Okay, Mark Cope had Adventist World Radio from South Africa, 9780. Madam Bali says, if you're using that ferret for medium wave de-Xing, then the most common variable cap paired is 365 picofarads. RCA224 says a loop antenna like the Texan AN200 can help provide some selectivity. It can null out stronger signals. I need to try one of those. I've seen it many times and people seem to be really, really happy with that Texan AN200. I need to check that out. So nice to have everybody here. Michael Biernacki. Nice to have you here from Warsaw, Poland. Cheers, my friend. Nice to have you on board from Poland. That's one station I miss off of shortwave is Radio Polonia. Alan W. says, Walbrook loops are excellent for AMDX. Can hear many US and Canadian AM stations here on the west coast of Ireland. Cool. They are pretty good, absolutely. That we got to say. It's nice to see everybody on board. Okay, let's go down. A little far behind, guys. I'll be there. Harley Crafter's Kitchen says realistic DX200 is sexy. Yeah, it is sexy. Like the DX302. Peter Freire, a long time ago you said you ordered a mini whip active antenna. Do you have it? Have you tested it? I've never received it. So I don't know what happened. I would need to have. I'm gonna. You know what? They're not expensive. I'm gonna order one and check it out. I really want to check that out. They look pretty amazing. Fastload has one. Fastload uses that for his listing. So it's kind of interesting. Michael says, thanks for your videos. I watch it and learn from you guys. Good job. Thank you very much. It's partly for that here, for sure. Exandroid K says he's Adelaide, South Australia. Nice to have you here. You'll be having some Canadians there. My two nephews. My nephew Gabriel is going to the Formula One Grand Prix in Australia in March. And my other nephew, Francois, has got his visa, is going for 3 years with his girlfriend. And he's going to spend 3 years in Australia. Pretty amazing. Scott Collier, nice to have you here. Nice to have you on board. Propagation was really good last night. Anyone seeing the same today? It looks pretty good, actually. When I look at the signals that are on the bands, it looks pretty good. I've got to say. The Drake R8s are amazing, that's for sure. For sure. BJ Watson, nice to have you on board. Below 30 megahertz, cool, nice to have you here. William Moser, nice to have you on board. Well, you got two patrolmans. Yeah, they're slightly different. The CB60 and the SW60. This one is shortwave, this one has a CB band. As for the rest, they're the same. Actually, it's funny. You guys are you guys are not gonna call me crazy, because probably most of you guys would do exactly the same thing that I do. But when I actually take one out, I usually take both out together and tune them together sometimes to the same signals. But I should do a few shortwave reception on the shortwave 60. I think that'd be fun. And when there's some sporadic E-skip, do some reception at CB band on this one here. So, but these are nice, and nice little vintage multi-band radios. Hey, Vianney Arsenault, bonjour, back from the office. And it's Friday. You can now have a beer, have whiskey, have whatever, and enjoy. Bienvenue, Vianney. Et bonne année. But the DX200, the DX302 I had are great. Even the DX100 for the time is kind of a sexy radio for what it is. But it's really, really not a great radio. Dennis says, your videos, tutorials for beginners are super. I never tire of watching them. They're worthy of being put into a playlist. Yeah, I need to do that. And maybe, kind of refresh. I think it would not be a bad idea to, from time to time, to refresh the videos, and it could be a good idea to kind of do them again also. William Moser, our Kinewood R5000, R600, sorry, is fun too. Yeah. Vianney says, propagation was bad this week, especially Wednesday and yesterday. I was listening to, I have my signals that I look at to see what transatlantic signals look like. So, for example, what I do here most of the time is go to 5450. 5450 is... So right now they're good. 5450 is the Royal Air Force weather station off of the UK. And on Wednesday evening, I would not hear it. And when I don't hear that, propagation isn't that great. There's something weird this week that happened and made propagation rather crappy, and I don't know. Last night was a little better, but I didn't listen much to it, though. PageMaster, I have one, but mine is the AM/FM Alenco Superhit 108, a great way for someone who wants to know electronics and radio frequency communications theory. And they are well made too. The Alenco sets and kits are well explained, how things work. Why is it built like this? It's really, really nice to have all of the knowledge, and it's something that's getting more and more difficult. And it's nice to I think for younger generation to learn more It's not a bad idea. William Moser, where are you finding them patrolman radios? Well, actually, the CB60 was bought by my father when I was about 13, 14 years old. He came home from Radio Shack and had one in the box. This SW60, and I at that time I didn't know that there was a shortwave version of the CB60. But I was looking at, and I found out over the years that there was a little cousin, the SW60. And one day I was on eBay, and there was a guy in Ontario, Canada, selling the SW60. And he was saying, well, little scratches here and there, but it worked great. And he was selling it for $25 plus $5 shipping in Canada. So I thought, okay, that's $30. It works. I want it. $30. I want it. I want to have the little cousin. And I just went on eBay and was like, okay, buy now. I want it. Send me that thing. So it's nice to have everybody here. What else do we have? Nice radio, strong. I even get excited when someone else gets a new radio. Yeah, absolutely. Mark Schmidt says AMDX is great. Yeah, we need 48 hours. Absolutely. Absolutely. AMDRC, nice to have you on board from Cornwall, UK. Yeah, pretty good Christmas. Pretty good Christmas. Absolutely. It's sorry guys. It's really a lot of was a lot of usual Christmas. Christmas Eve here with friends and family, and Christmas and New Year's Eve at my brother's, which is the usual time. James Alger says, has multiple projects going. Love to build and customizing it as I go. Pretty cool. It is a lot of fun when you have time to do it. It is a lot of fun. So, Matambale had to investigate all the honking outside a gang of Canadian geese or wanding around the street blocking traffic. Interesting. I guess it's better there. David says, channel I'm enjoying a lot, which is 12-volt vids. It's a technician from Toronto, Ham himself, deals mostly with audio equipment. Interesting. What else do we have? Ronald Klontz, nice to have you on board from Northeast Illinois. TV Radio 972 says, what is your least favorite or worst radio for shortwave? Mine is the QFX R9, AM, FM bleeds through shortwave bands. Not worth the $7 I paid. I have I have two of those. I believe it's let me just check. It's the QFX, I do believe it's that. We'll show you guys one. Actually, yeah, I've got two. I have two because I purchased both, not knowing they were actually the same radio. So this is what you're talking about. So I've got the QFX version, and the Cade version. But they're actually the same thing. They're actually the same thing. And you are totally right. The crappiest radios that you can buy. Absolutely. This one I paid $10 at the local electronics store, and of course when I see a little multi-band radio and it costs $10, I can't control myself. I gotta buy it. I don't know why I didn't kind of see that was this, and they are exactly the same radio under a different brand. They are very crappy. You're totally right on that. And I don't know. It's technically, I don't know. I'm not even sure I've been able to receive a shortwave broadcast on this thing. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I was able to do so. I'm gonna leave them here. I think I'm gonna try them again and see if they're worth it playing around with a little bit, for sure. So those, yeah, that's probably one. And I've got quite a few very, very bad radios. If I would have to put, say, the crappiest radio that I paid a certain price for, it would go to a receiver that's right here. This is the one I would actually complain the most about, and actually, Hammerhead 88, Tom Styles on his channel, sent me a comment saying that I was hard on this radio. This is the emergency radio. Sorry, guys, leftover from last week cold. The Ethon SolarLink FR500 is very heavy. Maybe I put batteries. Yeah, I got rechargeable batteries on it. This is the bad, most crappiest, and probably the radio with the worst quality control I've ever seen in my life. This is a piece of crap, especially for the price that it was selling for, around $70. This is not worth $20, honestly. It looks cool. It's the only thing that it does. It looks cool. For the rest, really, really wide selectivity. It's so wide, in fact, that don't try to tune into stations. It's like this wide. If you got 3 stations in that area, forget it. You're just gonna, you're just gonna hear a mishmash of whatever. So that would be the most expensive piece of crap that I purchased, probably. What else do we have? For medium wave DXing, have you ever heard of the Sony ICF X5MK2? No, never. Never. I have it and it is extraordinary. Wow. No, I've never heard of that model. No. I don't believe, James Hauser, that mini whip came from you. 11635. Let's see if, yeah. Carriers up for HM01 number station in Cuba. Huge carrier, says Mark Cope. Richard Cook. Jason Pongratz picked up the IC7600 on the box today at Radio World. Cool. Cool. SS Back Waterman. If you were to revisit past videos, could you do a video about installing FLDG or other WeFax decoding software for SDR use? You know, I have a lot of people asking me to expand upon the videos of the software that I use. An example, a very simple example, SDR Play or SP1A, okay? And I believe the RSP2 has the same thing. A lot of people that I've seen in different forums they say, you know, when they listen to an AM signal, they have kind of a distorted audio. And I had it the first day that I tried it. And of course, I found out that you gotta have the low frequency, which is the center frequency here, and the tune frequency, they need to be different. If they are the same, you get distortion. And so I don't know how many times I've seen people ask, oh, how do I fix that problem? And I have people responding all sorts of different things they should check. And 9 out of 10 times that I responded, make sure the low frequency and the tune frequency aren't the same. 9 out of 10 times the guy said, man, You are the man. It fixed my problem. I know, because I had that problem from the start. Which, of course, tells me I should have videos. I should have a video about that. You need to know that, because there's no documentation with the stuff you use. There's documentation online for SDR Uno and so on, but you gotta know. And so I need to take the time to do more videos on revisiting and installing software, using software. Even using virtual audio cables, so that within Windows, for example, you could channel in the audio if you want to decode digital mode signals and stuff like that. But definitely I need to do more videos of that. Absolutely, you are right on that. And actually, I one of my machines here that are totally reinstalled Windows, and I was thinking that I'll be reinstalling the software I need to use. Maybe I should actually make videos at the same time to say, okay, here's how to install this software and how to have it working correctly and so on. Take care, David Snyder. And please, it's always nice to have you on board, my friend David. Bill Mead says, HF was a bit crap this week for me too. But I was hearing some long way from Europe. Well, that's the thing, Bill. I've seen a lot of people this week say that a long way was amazing, although I couldn't hear anything, but I have a lot of noise here, I gotta say. But shortwave, most of the time that I tried it in the evening this week, was so crappy here. Just really, really crappy. I can tell you that. Really crappy. PLF Radio says SolarFlux 72 K3, so it's just borderline to being unsettled. Borderline. Matambali heard something really, really strange. 7507 this week on DX440 telescopic during the week. No idea what it was. Dave Todd, nice to have you here. 5450 USB, barely audible here. Crappy 30-foot long wire. Kevin Wood says, just ran to the store. CFRA Ottawa 580 is booming in. It's a regular here. 580 CFRA is a regular daytime station here. I can listen to it pretty easily. Mountain Valley says, the bad radios just make you appreciate the good ones. Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin Wood heard that on the car radio. Cool. PLF Radio, at that price range, you made videos with the Texan R9012, Jill. Absolutely. The R9012 is a million times better than that crappy stuff, I can tell you. Who can tell me if Chinese electronic parts for testing are any good? KC9KUH, good evening. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have all of you here. J.D. Williamson says, I was more saying to build a circuit with them for testing. The circuit for repair I usually buy German or Japan parts. Kind of interesting. One thing for sure, not all electronic parts are the same. That's for sure. I can tell you that. Yes, Dave Todd, absolutely. That's why I'm parked on 27025, that's channel 6 Super Bowl frequency, because there's a lot of skip this week. Absolutely, and many nights I've heard even the 10-meter band. Hey guys, got a little visitor here that wants to say hi. Hey, Mr. Paul. There's Mr. Paul. Look here. Yeah, people want to see you. People want to see your face. So Mr. Paul saying hi to everybody. So yep, there is some Sportic E this week. Absolutely. I've had many evenings of Channel 6, the CB, the Super Bowl CB channel with signals from the US. A lot of them concentrated in the Ohio area, Ohio, Michigan, and 10 meters was open. It's kind of a very cool thing. So I'm not totally sure, Mountain Valley, why they call it the Super Bowl frequency, but I think it's due to the fact of all the huge signals that are on that frequency. VE5UO, nice to have you here, says install the CSV user list browser for SDR Play. Makes station identification much easier. Highly recommended. Yeah, I don't have it on this, but I have it on my laptop for sure. Paul Gibson, nice to have you on board from Telford, UK. 2E1EQK. And it's pretty cool to have everybody here. Does Luis Arevalo, nice to have you here. Does my cat have a chip? My cat has a chip and he has a collar. So that if he gets caught outside, they can identify him. And I want the collar because if a neighbor thinks maybe it's a lost cat or something, with the collar, they know that he's my cat. Because we have some amazing strict rules here. Since last year, if my cat, you guys know that you can't really, control much of a cat that goes outside. My cat goes outside all the time. And basically, there's, for the past year, there's a new rule. If my cat is on public property, so on the sidewalk, and the parent goes by, they actually will fine you $500 in Montreal because your cat is on the sidewalk. And of course, if he doesn't have a chip or identified, it's $1,000 because he's on the sidewalk and you've not paid for the license. So it's totally nuts because, yeah, right, I'm going to control my cat. Have you ever tried to control a cat? Yeah, he's going to stay here? Yeah, right. A cat goes wherever he wants. So it's one of the dumbest regulations I've ever seen. And, people are mad. I've seen they were talking about it on the news the other day. They were saying that a lot of people refuse to pay the fines. And they say, no, come on. My cat was on the sidewalk and you're charging me $500 because it was on the sidewalk? This is crazy. So a lot of people are going to court and saying no. And actually, they're actually, I believe, doing some kind of class action lawsuit. And one of the lawyers said, look, it's one thing to fine for $50, but fine $500, that's nuts. You could have something with your car and it's not even going to cost you $100 for a fine. But your cat is on the sidewalk, $500, please. So, it's one of those so huge idiot city thing. And of course, my cat is everywhere because he goes to see the neighbors everywhere. Even crosses the street, which I don't really like, but I don't have the control over that. And he's an outdoor cat. He's always gone outdoor. I can't keep him in. So, so welcome aboard. Nice to have everybody here. What else do we have? J.D. Williamson, are there any radios you would love to have? Many radios. There's a lot of stuff that I would love to have. I'd like to have a C-Crane. I'd like to have one of those Sony ICF 7600. Of course, iron end radios, Nikon R8600. That would be so cool. Uh, 1221, nice to have you here. What do you think of the Croesus polar effect? What's that? Cats like to the X2, absolutely, Dennis. Oh yeah, it's totally nuts. The regulations here are just crazy. WA4AOS, nice to have you on board from South Carolina, where cats roam free and women are cute. Nice to have you on board, Glenn. WA4AOS. RWM Strong on both 9996 and 4996. Bill Mead, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what everybody says, is the city is just looking for a way to make money. It's totally nuts. So, you know, it's just crazy. My cat's name is Paul, but it's DX for some. It depends on who you are. Some of you that were on the chat room back when he appeared for the first time called him DX the cat. And his official name is Paul, but I did not give that name to the cat. He was the cat of the neighbors. And when she moved, the cat was always here. So she said, well, my cat seems to love you. You want him? I'll give you the cat because he seems to love you, and I'm moving anyway. And he's always, at your place. Of course he's potty trained. Actually, he goes outside all the time. He rarely goes in his litter box. And I believe they have 9 lives. What else do we have? Bob, you have a VHF UHF channel. I thought I heard you mention it. Yeah, once a month we have a VHF UHF VHF show, and from time to time I post videos there. I need to take care of it a lot more than I actually do right now. But yep, there is a VHF UHF. Well, it depends, Fastlow. Nice to have you on board. It depends. A lot of people actually go to and buy cats. I don't know why. I would not buy a cat. I would, adopt a cat from a shelter or something. I would not buy a cat. I don't understand why people pay hundreds of bucks for a cat. PLF Radio, take care. Next week, 2000 hours Universal Time for the next show. Hope you. We're going to check out RWM and Buzzer. Yeah, let's check that out. So let's try 9996. So I've got nothing there. 4996. I hear a tone, if I'm not mistaken. And if I look at the buzzer, no sign of the Russian buzzer on 4625 right now. No sign of the buzzer. But I believe I heard a kind of a tone on 4996. FT8 on 5357. Yeah, they're parked pretty much on that frequency now with FT8 stuff. Let's check it out. Let's see if we can decode a little bit of FT8 on. I'll put this at 3000 in the filter. Let's get WSJTX out. Yeah, I know. Okay. And here we go. Let's see what we can hear on. Let's see if it decodes. I don't know if the clock is set properly. Let's see if it decodes. Does it actually have audio? It should technically. Yeah, it does. I'll try to set the clock if it doesn't work. Take care, TV Radio 1972. And next week, 2000 hours UTC Friday for the next show. Mike, run. What computer are you using to run the SDR play, and how much RAM and hard drive in a computer? This is actually an old desktop. No, it's not going to work. I'm just going to refresh the clock here. I will make sure that I adjust the clock via internet to synchronize, because the clock might be off. And there we go, my clock's synchronized. Usually works, so I should usually have something here decoding. So, usually decode. So, is this the version 2.0.0? Yeah, it is. Oh, here we go. I adjusted the clock. There's an EA1 CQ EA1. That's from Spain. There's a ON8. Is that what, Belgium? EA7, another Spain, 2 Spain stations there. Of course, some US stations, a VE1 DH6BH from Germany. So nice signals off of FT8 on 5357 upper sideband. Really nice signals there. So the computer is an old Core 2 computer. Has 4 gigabytes of RAM. Hard drive is 500 gigs. This runs 2 things. It's made to run for the live shows, the SDR, and it's made to run the different software I use for emulation and for sending files to my Atari 1040 ST, my Amiga 500, and my Commodore 64 there. So these are hooked to the desktop. So that's the main use of that machine. It's only for that. I do nothing else with it, and it's running Windows 7 with it right now. Matambali is getting weather facts on 4996. I get radio teletype, not weather facts on 4996. Matambali. I have RTTY around that frequency. So it's carrier mode. That's what I heard. I heard the carrier mode, Richard, on 4996. What else do we have? Hey, Johnny DXer, nice to have you here. Hey, Randy, Riverside, California. It's Friday. Dave Todd, 5450 upper sideband, speaking up as darkness approaches. Cool. Brett Wayne, happy to be back in time for C. Paul. So, what do we have? Viviane Astanoy, thanks for the show. Gonna go dinner. Take care, my friend. See you soon. We'll be back next Friday, of course, for the live show. J.D. Williamson, a show about shortwave radio and beer, yet the most popular topic is DX the cat. Alan W. Shell, have you ever had to replace the dial bulbs on your Alcom ICR 8500? There's one gone on mine. Wonder, could they be replaced with LEDs? So here's the thing. On mine, there's only one left that is still lit up, which is the center bulb. And I have not come to myself to do it. From what I have looked into the display and the voltage of the bulbs, it seems that it would be better to actually replace them back with regular bulbs. But I've seen some people mod. I've seen one possibility that I wanted to try myself is to put a strip of LEDs that actually would enable me to even change the color of the display. And that's what I would actually like to do. But I have to say, and it's sad because my 8500 is underused right now. With the RSP1 performing well with the FT450 here, I've not used my ICOM a lot. Here, Leon Hutchison, nice to have you here, says he replaced his 8500 bulbs with LEDs, which is the best. Honestly, it's the best because those won't wear out like bulbs do. So, EA1 Galicia and Asturias autonomous communities in northwest Spain. Oh, cool. Mike Hanna. Okay, what kind of noise is this? I hear this sometimes on 28 megahertz. Must be aliens. Yeah, that's FT8. FT8. And you'll hear it on the different amateur bands. Usually at the beginning. So if you heard it on 28 megahertz, you would hear it 28074. There's a frequency for FT8 on every band. You need to use a software called WSJTX to decode. And one thing that I see a lot of people going crazy with, if you want to decode, you need to actually make sure your clock is super precise with the real time. FT8 is dependent on the clock time. It's very important that the clock is really, really set to as perfectly as possible to the actual time. For example, at the beginning, I couldn't decode it. My clock was probably off by a couple of seconds. And I actually synchronized it with the NIST clock. Since then, it's been decoding. So, lots of stations on 53, 57 with FT8 here. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. PageMaster. For all of my radios, I have the owner's operator's manual, but also the service manuals, along with schematic diagrams of each individual circuit boards. Yeah, I like to have the when I can, I like to have the service manual, because the service manual explains many things. And let's face it, a lot of radios are easy to open, but some radios are tricky. And you need to have the service manual explain to you, oh, you need to check this out and that out, and there's this hidden screw right there, and there's... So sometimes you need the service manual just to open up the radio. They've taught, yeah, a lot of the RTTY outside of AM bands is encrypted. There's a lot, there's still some NAVTEX though, some NAVTEX that is that is unencrypted, and they're weather bulletins. But a lot of the RTTY outside the bands, it's like STANAG. A lot of it is actually encrypted. A lot of it is encrypted, for sure. What else do we have? I'm Apper from Moscow. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to see people from everywhere around the world. Callum too, nice to have you here. Yeah, feeling a lot better. Thanks, my friend. Jerry DX says he'll use the RA500 for me. You know what? What I want to do, and I think that would be the thing to do. If I am not to use my R8500 much, maybe my desktop that I use here, maybe I should set it up with my desktop using the computer control, and set it up on global tuners or so that you guys could tune it from around the world. I think that would be a great way of having the radio work. I would leave it on 24 hours. You guys can tune it whenever you want, and I think it would be a great thing to do. You could tune the full spectrum of long wave, medium wave, short wave, and VHF, UHF. It would be working. It would be a great use for that. People could tune around the world. I think this could be my 2019 project, making sure that my 8500, if I don't use it, why not have it online and being used by other people? I think that's not a bad idea. I mean, I use the RSP1A. I use the Yisu here. I have tons of portables. So, Richard Cook, do I get 7880 German weather facts? I often hear it. Let me just let's close this down. Let's go to 7880. Do I hear it? Yeah, it's very weak, but it's there. I hear it right now. but it's probably too weak to really decode a picture or something on it. Below 30 megahertz is running SDR Uno, virtualized on a Windows 7 machine. David says, I've had my ICR 8500 for 3 years already, if no more, and I've been using it rather heavily at times, and all of the original board is still nice and strong. Hopefully they last for a long time. Yeah, I'm gonna have, I mean, my ICOM is about 6 years old now. 6 to 7 years old. So it's a little older than you. Don Stefano, nice to have you here from Frankfurt. And he's receiving the T marker, powerful on 4182 upper sideband. I don't hear those letter markers here in North America and Montreal much. Did I hear anything there? Really nothing much there. Nothing much there. Any pirates? Let's check for pirates. C900. Anything in the pirates field? Oh, I forgot to. You guys will see the difference immediately when I unplug the Samsung wireless charger. You will see a bunch of lines disappear from the display. Nothing much in the pirate activity. And let's see for the bottom of 5 megahertz. Anything there? So we've got yeah. I will just try something here. I just want to see if I can just. It's very difficult to make out whatever I could be receiving there. Receiving Shannon Volmet from Ireland on 5505. 5505. We just had a ionospheric sound going through. Pretty cool. What else? Below 30 minutes. On the other hand, my sentence SDR Uno virtualized goes well enough on a Mac, but sometimes it gets stuck. I've seen people, I don't know what you're using for the virtualization, but I've seen people say that the if you're running SDR Uno on virtualization on a Mac, it works well. What I've seen is that it works well with Parallels desktop. If you have Parallels, it works great with Parallels. But people that use virtual machine say that it freezes all the time, and it seems to be some kind of USB connectivity through the virtualization that doesn't work well with VMware. But it seems that on Parallel it works great. Jason Pongratz, what do I think of the Panasonic Toughbooks? Well, they're made for really harsh environments, but I've never seen one or really used one, so I can't really say much about them, honestly. Brett Wayne says that would be cool. We could tune the bands on Jill Radio. Yeah, I know, Brett Wayne. I need to do that, and it would actually have a great use, and I'd leave it on 24 hours. I mean, I wouldn't care. I'd just leave it on 24 hours, leave the desktop on, and have you guys tune whenever you want. I think that's a great way of putting this radio to use, and I don't know, I would feel that it, because one of the things I hate, and you guys probably hate it also, is the fact that when a radio isn't used. When you have a radio and you actually don't really use it much, or don't use it at all. I don't know, I feel kind of bad. Sometimes I look at the icon here, and I feel that, well, it's not used. It's not cool, it ain't used really. So I don't know. This is something that I need to check out for sure, and maybe put it online. So I think it's gonna be cool to put it online actually. Okay, what else do we have? Madrid DXer, nice to have you here, my friend. What else do we have? KC9KUH. I9 had to get a new PC to use my SDR, now using a i7 77, 60 gigabytes RAM, GTX 1080 GPU. Works well now. Mine works well on older machines. I mean, it's interesting to see that the software. I've used HDSDR, SDR Uno here. What does it say? It says that the total system usage at 30%, between 30 and 40%. And I mean, for an old system like this one, it isn't that bad actually. And it shows that you don't need that powerful machines to actually have them work. Romania on 6170. Let's check it out.
In our book, and along the years they have got involved in volunteer projects and in various activities with NGOs.
7310 is even stronger here.
Who were active behind the front line. I personally vote with the career of those women who contributed to the School of Sociology founded
Radio Romania 6170 and 7310. Pretty good in English.
To limit themselves to being mere secretaries or activists, but had a significant contribution to the foundation of the aforementioned schools.
The stories of these famous or less famous women can be read on the webpage, which accompanies the book at mesopotanet.com. While readers are eagerly looking forward to a sequel, the author has also pledged to publish. Let's go from culture and nature and about a new book, The Relentless, released by the Universe Publishing House, together with the Association de Bassa. A book about the activity of famous and anonymous.
Publication seems to be pretty good tonight. Seems to be better than the other evenings I've been listening to this week. Radio Rebelde on 5025, says Richard Cook. Matambali receives Trenton Military Vomit on 15034. S4, but quite readable. I haven't heard on that frequency in a long time. Skip needs to be really short for me for 15034. Usually I get it at 6754 in the evening. Keegan, nice to have you on board in Northwest Arkansas. Pretty cool. Sunny and 54 Fahrenheit there. Nice. Happy New Year. Dave Todd says gets Trenton on 6754 too close. Yeah, pretty much the same here. Below 30 megahertz says I'll try parallel gel. I see there's a free demo. Yeah, but that's the comments I've seen on some posts. Some people, maybe it depends on your hardware. Some people find parallels works better and is more stable with the SDR Uno and the connectivity with the SDR Play. So maybe try that. Take care, JD Williamson. Nice to have you on board. I know how it feels having early shift. I've done that many times over years. I totally feel you. Stay safe, my friend. Dave Todd, Grimsby, South Shore of Lake Ontario. He's even closer than I am. Evgeny Ivanov. Nice to have you here from St. Petersburg. Cool. Nice to have people everywhere. KC9 KUH, as your console says, I'm using 3% CPU, 10% GPU. Yeah, well, on a powerful machine, you should be using very, very low CPU. This one, 30% is nice if you consider that this is an old Core 2 machine. So it's not that demanding, actually. Brett Wayne says, I have 3 dead radios from lack of use, KC2 and XP. Yeah, I need to use them. I like to have them. The other day I did one thing. I actually tuned the ICOM on the VHF UHF range all evening, so I could listen to shortwave on the RSP1A. I was tuning the 6-meter band on this to see if I could hear anything on the Yisu FD450, and this was on VHF UHF. I was trying to tune satellites, which was kind of interesting and kind of cool, actually. And there's some feeling of, I don't know, fulfillment. I don't know. Whoa, be careful, man. Your leg is stuck in the camera wire. I don't want you to go away with the laptop. My cat almost. Yeah, please. Okay, thank you. So, and imagine, even here in Montreal, which is, more than, several hundred miles, I'm still close for 15034. Matam Bali says, yeah, I'm generally too close for WWV to hear at 50 megahertz and above, but WWVH can be an easy catch. Bobby Burgas got Romanian 7310. Richard Cook's got boat 6739 EAM. Let's see, I haven't heard one of those in a long time. Let's try 4724. We'll see if we hear emergency action messages from the U.S. Air Force. KC9QH, I've been looking into letting my CPU and doing some overclocking. I'm running also cooling on my CPU. Yeah, but don't look too much into that. You know what, KC9QH? Remember that overclocking your CPU is giving you a real world performance very little. So say your CPU is at 3 gigahertz and you're overclocking at 3.5, there is very little to gain. And even though it's really well cooled, you won't see much difference, honestly. I personally think overclocking is way overrated. Unless, the only real overclocking is those extreme overclocking guys that have liquid cooling and everything, and that they take a 3 gigahertz CPU and run it at 5 gigahertz. Okay, now that's overclocking. But for the rest, honestly, and remember that if you overclock a lot. I mean, overclocking your CPU means you're overclocking the RAM. It means that's not only the CPU that needs to be cooled. It's a mix of things. And honestly, even if you would have, go from 2.5 to 3 or 3 to 3.5, the real world performance that you'll see, the difference, negligible. It's very, very, very small. Bobby Burgess has got it on 8992. Let's try 8992. Anything here? Let's see if I can hear something. Sheldon Arby, bonjour, hi, nice to have you on board. Happy New Year. And of course, Sheldon Harvey is president of the Canadian International DX Club. You can have a sample copy if you haven't asked already of the CIDX Messenger. It's an electronic publication every month, and it's really nice. Don't ask for more than one copy. And the interesting aspect of 2019 I will be the editor of the World of Utility column in CIDX. So you will be not only seeing my face here every Friday, you'll be able to read my utility stuff in the CIDX Messenger every month now. So I'm glad to be part of that. And of course, CIDX Club at yahoo.com is where you can ask for a sample copy. And it's $10 per year subscription, $25 for 3 years, which is a good deal. And you have a very, very nice bulletin full of information, very, very well made every month in your email. PDF publications, really, really nice. And of course, I joined Sheldon and David for the International Radio Report. And by the way, any of you guys want to try it tomorrow night, Saturday evening, North America, Eastern Time is 8:30 p.m. UTC, Sunday. UTC time is 01:30. And the International Radio Report is relayed by WINB in Red Lion, Pennsylvania on 9265. And I really need to try to tune in tomorrow. I want to try that out and see if it's there. So you can listen in to the International Radio Report where me, Sheldon, and David are interacting and talking about radio every week. It's a nice little show because we're here local on CKUT 90.3 FM. It's nice to have everybody here. And of course, you can go and listen to the stream, ckut.ca, to the archive that's there, and listen to past shows. Really nice. RCA 2, okay, Keegan as WWV and WWVH week fading on 15,000. I don't know if I still hear 15,000 here. Very weak. I hear it. I slightly hear it in the noise, but it's the time where it's pretty much fading out here on the East Coast at this time of year. RCA 224, WRMI 9395 coming in strong, playing oldies. Let's check it out. 9395. Now it's, it's started now. RAE Argentina, I believe. Relay. 9395. Johnny the Exer, Voice of Turkey, coming in loud on 5980 from the Philly Burbs. So nice to have that. RDB, hey Dennis, from Medina, Ohio. Nice to have you here. KC9KUH, I like the Yaesu FT450. Nice radio, but I have to say I am a Kenwood guy with my TS2000. You know what, KC9KUH? It's interesting because I've now officially owned Kenwood rig, ICOM rig, and now a Yaesu rig. And each have their own little thing, you know, the little quirks and quirks. Some have better than others. It all depends. And I'm happy to have owned all three of them. I like the Kenwood a lot. The Kenwood R5000 I owned when it was new. It was an amazing performer. Really enjoyed the ICOM here a lot. It's just amazing. Still learning to use the Yaesu. It's a very amazingly complex radio. This thing, if you look at the manual, it's crazy. The amount of menus and things you got in here, it's just nuts. And here's Mr. Paul the Cat saying hi again, because he wants to tune the Yaesu. So you want to tune him? You should put his paw here. It would be like a beautiful moment, you know. So Paul wants to tune the Yaesu, as you see here. He probably has an amateur radio cat now. And he just wants food because he's been just like walking around looking at me intensely. He wants to have food. But now he wants to tune the Yaesu receiver. Ow. He's got his claws in my leg. Ow. Ow. Okay, that's better. Oh, God. Mr. Paul. I know I'm not giving you food, but people love you. Look at that. How can you not like this cat? So, pretty cool. So, Madam Bali, WWVH, 15 megahertz, S7 steady. Brett Wayne, I get up at 3 a.m. to plow snow. No snow to plow. You can actually take it easy tonight. WWV at 10 megahertz for Richard Cook in the UK. Keegan, 10,000. WWV strong. Mark Bruno getting Radio Gaga. Powering on 6925 with Rod Music in Wisconsin. Let's check it out. 6925. Upper sideband. Anything here? Not a peep of a signal. What's this here? Nope. I don't have anything here on 6925. Mark. So, and as Sheldon is saying, January CIDX Bulletin will be ready next week. So, pretty cool. FX2 Mark 8, nice to have you on board. And what do you have? Mario DX overclock. But that is because I play games which take advantage of it. This includes CPU, RAM, and graphics card. My ELAD SDR shows CPU usage, and there is no need at all to overclock from i3 CPUs and up. Pretty much. Keegan says, strong here, 9720 English language. 9720. Anything here? There's something weak. Something very weak. Spain still giving up a good signal, only 690. In about an hour's time, Spain will be in English, by the way. So Mark Brown Gaga just went to digital mode and now off air. Okay. Below 30 megahertz, something weird on 4209. 4209, upper sideband. Well, that is interesting. Oh, that sounds like Navtex. That looks like Navtex. Let me just see if I can decode it. It really sounds like Navtex. Below 30 megahertz. Let me just take multi-PSK. I don't know if I'll be able to... it's noisy here, so I don't know if I'll be able to decode it. Navtex. Sitter A, I believe, is Navtex. I'm not sure I can decode it much. It's really noisy, so I have a lot of guitar. I'm not sure I can. Where is the darn the amateur knows? Let me just check out something here. Man, this interface is difficult. Okay, Amtor FEC. There we go. It's very noisy. Oh yeah, Navtex. There you go. So there is, if you hear this really well, it's actually decodable. This is not encrypted. A little more volume here. Maybe I could, yeah, that would be better. I like the yapipi kaka. What the hell? This is definitely Navtex. It's decoding what it can because of the noise, but ZC. So that was a ZC from whatever station. What could be this Navtex thing? Let me just check out here. 4210 or something. Just check it out here. 42. I don't know if I can see it here. 42. But this is definitely Navtex. I could see part of the text from time to time. So here there's like, you know, a schedule. It decodes only half of it here. But this is really a Navtex transmission coming out of 4309. What is this? T10. I don't really see much of it, and I don't know which station that is, but this is definitely Navtex coming out of a station. I don't know which one. Keegan says 10715 HM01 strong. Please fast load. Every radio is for hams. There's no specific radio or brand for hams. Keegan. Ray Lyle, nice to have you here. 9395 WRMI strong, says fitting at times, Keegan. So definitely some kind of Navtex transmission, but it's very noisy. And the problem with Navtex is that unless you've got a really clear, nice signal, it's very difficult to have a 100% decode on Navtex. RDB says, animal over lovers have high credibility with me. We have many dogs, but cats are great too. If I would have had a choice, I would have loved to get a dog. I'm a dog guy also. Danny Shortwave back, waiting for post office to deliver a new radio from eBay. Woohoo! Ray Lyle, how did you get the echo to stop? I simply, all I do is before I start the show, I simply disable the speaker. I actually disable every sound this PC can do, pretty much. Callum too, do you know if digital audio broadcasting radio will be introduced to in Canada, USA or Canada, and if they are going to use the long wave band in USA or Canada? I heard on YouTube they are going to use long wave. In Canada and US, long wave is really, you know, directional beacons and stuff like that. There's never really been much of a use other than that. Sorry, I forgot to put the camera back up. Thanks, Bobby, to letting me know. So there's really nothing much on the I would say on the side of long wave here. As for digital audio broadcasting, here in Canada, there's talk about it. But there's nothing really official about it. There's nothing giving us any date or whatever. So I don't know. In the U.S., I know there's some kind of DAB going on, but I don't know. I don't know. There's nothing really clear. It's not like in in Europe where you guys have like set, really set stuff. I mean, you know. Antambali says, wow, 9690 RE is 9 plus. Robert Prosper, nice to have you here. The Navtex is on 42. I tune it 4208.5. Upper sideband, Fastland. 4208.5 to have the proper tone. Jay Warnison, 69, nice to have you here. Robert Prosper, is it possible these days to decode cellular transmission? Not necessarily in real time, but with, say, an hour or less of computing? Asking for a friend. Okay, here's the thing about cell transmissions. The problem is the regular GSM cell phone transmission use encryption keys. So the thing is, the encryption keys are the problem. You need to have the information of the encryption keys in order to be able to decrypt what is heard. So technically, yes, I've seen a few teams with proof of concept of yes being able to listen into transmissions. We know that the NSA and some law enforcement are capable of tapping into those transmissions. The key here is to have the proper equipment and the encryption keys for the cell communications. If you've got that, you can even do it in pretty much real time with a good PC. With a fast PC, you'll do it in real time. Talking on 4505. Let's check that out. 4505. Always fun to hear stuff that's unusual, actually. Well, here I have no talking, but I have Kodar. The chirp, chirp, chirp sound of Kodar. Man Radio DXer. So, what's happening is that there's a few people have been posting that they've written to Radio Exterior de España, and they've asked, they've said hello and everything, and one of them asked for a QSL, and he posted his reply, and the reply said that they are working on QSL cards. So apparently REE is bringing back QSL cards, which would be nice. 4045. 4045. Not hearing much. There's something weird here. There's 3 little lines. There's nothing much on 4045 for me. By the way, the signal for Radio Verdad in Guatemala, which is like 700 watts, was crazy strong this week. I was able to hear it really well until it signed off and actually understand that it was in English, because there's around 0500, somewhere around there, they have a 1 hour English language. Is it 404, 05? On Sundays. I was actually able to listen to the English broadcast, which was religious, with what was probably the strongest ever signal of Radio Verdad Guatemala on 5055, 4055 this week. Crappy all around propagation, but Radio Verdad was just amazing. Hey, crazy survival stories. Of course, get that beer, man. 10715, good carrier. Let's just try that here if I hear it. There's an amazing. It has an amazing carrier, actually. S9 plus 10 here. 10715, Cuban number station. So it's pretty cool. Here I've got good connection. Shadowed RV says 4209.5 is Station G, New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, interesting. So they're sending NAVTEX broadcast right now. Ivan, nice to have you here. Hi, Chalakov, saying, Colin, have you listened to Long Way when thunderstorms are around? Yeah, but you know. 10715. Andrew the Extra says, thanks, Jill. Also, I still need to hear their reactivated English service. Last time I heard it was before the last transmission a few years ago. Well, in 40 minutes time. In 40 minutes time, if 9690 holds, we might be hearing it here. We're going to try it for sure. Keegan says, I got an iPhone on Friday, December 28, 2018. Yesterday I asked Siri if she was serious. Okay, beer time. Oh, beer number 3 at 5:22 p.m. Ouch. Here we go. Hey, Ray Lyle, I'm using SDR Uno in low IF. So Richard Cook's receiving 9690, very strong. And you're watching the Shortwave show. We'll do a little piece of self-promotion here once again. Don't forget, guys, if you like what I do, if you wish to help me out, paypal.me/shortwave, where you can send me a little something. And or that Yahoo email that you see here. You can also join 11 patrons on patreon.com, patreon.com/radio and computers, and of course helps me tremendously through the year in paying for the costs of the equipment needed, the light bulbs that blow up, and the things that I need to change from time to time to make sure we're here. Pay for some food for Paul the Cat that makes his appearance. Pay for the beer. So thanks everybody for your donations. And of course, always welcome. Okay. So 10715 is very strong, but there's still nothing. It's just an empty carrier right now. Just an empty carrier. Adam Bali says, also Bordacious in Colorado. And of course, you're watching the Shortwave show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We've been on now for 2 hours and 23 minutes. Not too bad, not too bad. So, any interesting signals? Let's tune around the bands a little bit. I'll just stop here in the chat. So if you guys write up something, I will be tuning around and continuing with the chat. I'll just make sure my beer empties well. Here we go. Looks like an ice cream cone almost. That's not a good idea. Okay. What is there on the bands? Propagation seems to be interesting. Let's start at I don't know. What's on the 49 meter band? Let's check that out. Okay. Let's zoom in. So I'm here from 5760. So there's something on 5900 kilohertz, 5900. That would be at this time Brother Stare, apparently from Bulgaria. It doesn't sound like Brother Stare though. But it says here Brother Stare from Bulgaria. Oh, it is Brother Stare. I see it. It's you know when there's the Brother Stare broadcast, he has these little like 10-minute, 15-minute bits of news and stuff and end of the world, whatever news items before he says that we're all gonna die soon. I think that's what's going on right now. So that's from Bulgaria, 5900. Yeah, now Brother Stare is back. I can hear Brother Stare. 6040. I will stop this because I will not be monetized. Believe it or not, that will remove monetization off a video if I put it for too long. That is Algeria via France. And they were in French for about 13 minutes, about 15 minutes ago. 6040, Radio Algérienne from France, transmitter site. Something very, very weak on 6050. CFRX from Toronto coming in on 6070. Let's see if I hear the 1010 frequency. I actually hear music on 1010. It's not very strong though. WWCR with their Spanish language DX show, I believe, on 6115. If you guys want to hear 6180 Radio Nacional Amazonas, they're back on 6180 from Brazil with some music right now. 6180 is Brazil in Portuguese. Interesting to see the different stations. What do we have? So Richard Cook's got 11685 and 12030. Pagemaster, Radio Stereo 9690 coming in S7 plus 2 here in Moore, Oklahoma. We're going to check out, 30 minutes left. We'll try to listen to the English language. Real Isle says, here in Southern Illinois, the bands have been great last couple of days. Was receiving Radio New Zealand at 13740, almost midnight Central Time. Wow. Yeah, it is a big sunspot though. If you look at the Matambalis, it's single sunspots working hard. It is pretty big. I was looking at the pictures of a close-up. It's actually a bunch of little spots kind of scattered around. It is. It's not one of those little dark spot. It's pretty complex. And it did bump the solar flux to like 73, 75. You know, we're in solar minimum. A solar flux of 75 and we're all jumping around and be happy. Man. Mark Cove's got Guam on 11995 S9 in Texas. Wow. Really? 11995. Anything here? Barely. Wow. 9690. I hope this is a sign of good propagation because 11940, I actually was hearing, on 11940, I was actually hearing Spain. At this time of night where it's really dark path from Spain to here, it's pretty good. Oh, 11955, Mark Cook says. 11955. What's that? Anything here? Nothing at all here. Cuba is really strong on 11760.
Pública y privada. En el ámbito político también hay tormentas en curso.
11760 is Cuba. Pretty good. Hey Elizabeth, nice to have you on board from Anchorage, Alaska. Richard Cook's got an empty carry on 6060, and that's probably Radio Havana, Cuba, but with a defective transmitter. Ray Lyle, radio 1010 on 6070, about 4-7 here. Pick him up 1010, Richard Cook's here. Keegan says 11955 weak, up to S2 out of S5 here. Pied Mondrian student numbers now on 10715. 15, let's check that out. Yep. Really strong Cuban numbers. So this is the this is HM01, and for those that wonder what HM01 means, hybrid mode 1. Digital and voice. You know, have you guys ever stopped to think at one point, like you're in your home and you're listening to that? We all know that it's spy numbers, so it's meant for Cuban spies somewhere, probably in the US, maybe in Canada. Have you guys ever just thought about the fact that, you know what? You're listening to Cuban spy numbers. And, your neighbors don't know about it. I mean, it's kind of unusual and kind of cool at the same time. These are the things that I like about, kind of shortwave listening and all of it. I'm going to tell you that. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Elizabeth. I mean, from 69 to 72, 3, 4, 5, we see a difference. We immediately see a difference. And it's a small difference, but it's there. We notice it, especially if you listen a lot. Music on 11910, says Elizabeth. Interesting. Oh, okay. Elizabeth says, well, no more music now. Elizabeth, what is North Korea jamming exactly? Well, everything they don't like. So I guess they're going to use the North Korean jamming. They probably target, because there's a lot of kind of clandestine out of the country stations. Like, for example, there's some stations in Taiwan and some stations in other Asian countries that target North Korea with their own type of propaganda, if you want. And basically, they will jam that, and they will probably jam everything that is Radio Free Asia, for example. They'll jam Radio Free Asia. They're probably going to jam KBS from South Korea, stuff like that, pretty much. Piet Mondrian student says Cuban numbers reported strong in Slovakia this week by Bike DXer. That PlayStation player, hey. The Guam frequency was 11955, I believe. Richard Cook's got South Korean station on 6250. Kind of interesting. Let's continue checking out the bands there a little bit. Let's go down and see what we have. So 5900. Okay, anything interesting in here? Anything here? WRMI on 5850. So there's a WRMI at 5850 coming in. What is there here? 4620. Anything interesting? Wow, some digital stuff there on 5620 or something. And this is my cat. Wow, what's that? Some weird digital mode here. 5620 or so. Kind of interesting. I will leave you guys for a few seconds with the Royal Air Force weather, as I will go and give food to my hungry cat that you just heard. And we are back after feeding my fat cat. You're watching the Shortwave show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Of course. Ray Lionel says, Shortwave has never gotten old in 36 years for me. Just knowing I'm sitting in my little shack listening to stations from all over the world with an outdoor wire antenna. It's just a cool factor. I love it. Same for me. I mean, there are many reasons why we can fall out of our hobby. If I look at my own way of shortwave listening over years, what I see is that I've had several occasions. I'm just looking at what the hell am I done with my. It's something. Oh, it's here. Okay. So sorry. So if I look, I felt like off and on about the hobby over time, if you want. And there were periods of time that were months at a time when I didn't even turn on the radio. But I always come back. At some point, I always come back and always will have a moment where I just, will be happy to tune around again. And there is that coolness factor that, we probably share a little bit of that amazing mysteriousness of, we know and understand that, for example, this might be simple. It's a weather broadcast, but it's coming from the UK. I mean, it's crossing the Atlantic Ocean and reaching my antenna in my backyard. And with my, coax being fed into a little RSP1A here, hearing it here, visualizing it here, visualizing the signals that could be around it. Let's zoom out a little bit. There's a total coolness factor around this that is just great when you think about it. It's just great. And just understanding that is just amazing. PageMaster, UVB 764625 is one weird broadcast on the dead man switch. Well, you know what? There was a everybody got hyped up a couple of weeks ago when somebody posted in a group. I've heard somebody talk because 4625 usually is just a buzzer, always there. But somebody heard someone talking the other day, which is kind of weird. But it is a weird broadcast. It's one of those things that you're like a remnant of, the Cold War era, where it's like so weird. Buzzer still super strong, 4625. Let's try it again, just out of curiosity here. 4625. I don't think I'm hearing it. It's funny because when you listen to noise, it's easy to suddenly hear some kind of pattern that's not there in reality. You got to be careful with that. But I don't hear it. Last time I heard it was here live, and it was in October, somewhere like end of October, early November, something like that. Brian Penny says that the voice of the Islamic Republic of Iran has been really strong here in eastern Massachusetts on 6040. I believe I heard it a week or two ago. No problem, Bobby Burgess. WRMI strong. 5850, says Keegan. It's really, really nice to have everybody around here. It's pretty cool. Dennis, even Lindless Shag is not overridden by mice. Nope. Hey, Jeffrey. Nice to have you here, Jeffrey Kropp. Happy New Year. Really, really nice to have you on board, my friend, in New Hampshire. Really cool. Jeffrey. Of course, Happy New Year to everybody that's wasn't there at the beginning of the show. QRN 7570. So here is so intense, even the radio event in Cuba couldn't poke through it. Wow. As of Korea 7570, says Richard Cook. Keegan says, sorry guys. Keegan says, hit a user due to inappropriate remarks. No, this is not a place for political anything. This place has two things we don't talk about: politics and religion. The rest, just. Thanks, Madam Bali. Oh man, Billy Laptop, nice to have you here. Yeah, absolutely. If you just focus hard and listen, you can convince yourself that you're listening to the buzzer. Honestly. And it happens so many times that I take the time to listen in, and I actually convince myself, nope, that's not the buzzer. That's my brain trying to make out the buzzer in here. Because when it's there, it's obviously there. It's there. Below 30 megahertz says, receiving Radio New Zealand in the early morning in Spain seems magical to me, almost 20,000 kilometers from transmitter. It is magical. It is really, really magical. Tiraboski, nice to have you here. Thank you very much. for following me. Really nice. Really nice to have everybody here. Man. Dave Todd, has anybody heard of increase in pirate activity in the U.S. with the government FCC shutdown? Not really, but you know what? We should keep an eye out or an ear out for pirates because, I mean, shortwave pirates, maybe there's not a lot of change there because shortwave pirates are already in a sphere where it's rather difficult to really get them. I wouldn't be surprised though that maybe FM pirates on local markets in the United States, you guys that live in the US should tune around the FM band, see if some increased FM pirate activity, maybe due to the fact that with the FCC shutdown, there could be less people checking out what's happening in the FM band, or even if you complain, the complaint won't go through until it gets back to normal, and well, the station will be gone. McGlone, nice to have you on board from Northport, Florida, where I'm sure it's probably warmer than here in Montreal. Bud Householder, nice to have you here from Ohio. Pretty cool. Madrid DXer, can you please stay on the start of REE's English service? Absolutely. No, I won't end it before 3 hours for sure. We'll go into it, and hopefully the signal's going to be still there. We're going to try that. Ray Lyle says, to everyone new to shortwave, don't feel bad if you hit periods where you don't listen for periods of time. I've gone a couple of weeks and even months, a month before. Life happens. That's the thing. And what's happening is that we have life, and I mean, unless you live in a jail where the only thing you have is a shortwave radio. I mean, there's other things happening in life. I'm a social guy, so I got a million things happening all the time. Then there's work. I'm happy because, yeah, my work that I do is cool for a reason, is that I do this, so I actually, technically get paid to promote shortwave and talk about shortwave, so it's difficult to have something that's as cool as that. Thanks to YouTube monetization, thanks to your donations that you guys give me and everything. But life is life, and there are periods of time when life doesn't let us do as many shortwave or as much shortwave as we can. Sometimes life, meeting somebody that you go out with, suddenly you fall in love. Shortwave takes that space there, and it's like, well, okay, I'm going out with someone. We'll leave the radio alone for a while. There's something else happening in my life, But what I see personally is that when this is a major passion, which is when it's something amazing that you just can't, it's for you, it's one of the important stuff in your life with, life going on itself. You come back. One day you sit down and you're like, hey, I'm going to turn on the radio. I haven't turned on the radio in such a long time, And I think that's telling you how it's just amazing what you really love and you have a passion towards something. Even though it goes away because of other things going on in life, it eventually comes back. That's pretty much what happened to me towards all the 2019. That means I'm 37 years. Sorry guys, but I think I hear the buzzer. I left it on the frequency, but I think I hear the buzzer. Let's just put it a little stronger here. Yes. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I hear it now. I hear the buzzer on 4625 upper sideband. It's there. I hear the buzzer. From that comes from somewhere around St. Petersburg, Russia, somewhere around there. Definitely hear the buzzer now. This is not my brain playing tricks. It's my ears receiving the buzzer here. So anyways, you know, when you have a passion, it comes back, and you just naturally come back to it. One of the things that I find really, really cool is when somebody, you know, so many amateur radio operators, for example, that said, well, you know, I was doing ham radio stuff, or shortwave listeners that were doing shortwave radio stuff, listening a lot in the 70s or 80s, and then they just, you know, abandoned. And one day they come on this channel, and they look at this channel and say, wow, you sparked my interest in coming back into ham radio, or you sparked my interest in coming back into shortwave. Wow, I'm hearing it well now. So you see, I'm all hyped up, receiving a little buzzer from Russia. You know. Could you repeat info about announced radio show? I was walking my dog and missed it. I'm trying to think exactly what you want to. Can you give a little more detail about what you mean, iMapper? Department of Defense. Nice to have you on board from Pennsylvania. If you're talking about the International Radio Report, 0130 UTC Sundays, or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in North America, 9265 kilohertz. There's the International Radio Report, which I'm part of with Sheldon and David, which will be aired on WINB. Melvin Witcher, Happy New Year. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Something on 9100 here, noisy. Echo of Hope, clandestine. What you might be having on 9100 Matambale, there could be a fire drake blocking it, but I don't know. Department of Defense, such a funny screen name. Well, you know, what I like is when there's Cosmic Lettuce. I don't know why. Cosmic Lettuce, I just like it. Hey, Nick Mayakovsky, nice to have you here from Nova Scotia. Shitty Pyro 90, hey, nice to have you on board. Kevin Wood is hearing a carrier on 6920. 6920. So I'm hearing the buzzer. Woohoo! Propagation must be pretty interesting. Nothing here in the pirate band around 6900. Dana F. Nice to have you on board from Providence, Rhode Island. Pretty cool. I'll try 9100, but anything here? There is a very weak thing here on 9100. Oh, there's definitely a carrier. It's very, very weak, but I could see it slightly in the waterfall there. There's definitely a very, very weak carrier that I hear on 9100. I'll just look at 9100. What's on 9100 technically? So here says clandestine Echo of Hope from Korea. Problem is, yeah, 2251. Boston, but it has, yeah, okay. And the Sound of Hope. No, that's 9120. Huh. So I would guess I'm hearing a very faint carrier, but it's possible. Carrier from Echo of Hope in Korea. Huh, interesting. Rob Webster, nice to have you on board from the UK. Bob says, plenty of pirate FM broadcast stations in Brooklyn, New York, usually Jamaican and Haitian neighborhoods. They get popped from time to time, no stopping them though. Interesting, it's like I was telling Sheldon when we were on the show, the International Radio Report, how it's interesting that a big city like Montreal, I've never heard of a pirate station in FM. It's surprising. Very surprising. What else do we have? Yeah, Heham.net has a lot of reviews that are very, very nice, and it's nice to have the comments from everybody and kind of look at what people talk about, and the positive, negative that they give everything. Ray Lyle says, same here, Shell, 36 years shortwave listening here, and we're still here tuning around. Shows we all love it. Absolutely. It's one of our passions. PageMaster, collecting QSL cards from either amateurs or international broadcasters is an addictive drug. Absolutely. I got tons of them right there in my face that I need to all, classify and put in a little book. QSLing is amazing. And you know what? One of the amazing thing about QSLing also is that over time, and with shortwave, you get these QSL cards from stations that have long gone. And you look at the QSLs and you're like, oh man, I remember. Maybe this could be an interesting show. I should take out my QSL collection, go through it slowly, show you guys, and a lot of them have special stories behind them. Maybe I should do a show with that. Maybe that could be interesting. I don't know if you guys would like that. That could be an interesting show, for sure. Fanny Xenakis, an amber beer color tonight. Tirabuski, the buzzer is a Russian military signal. And basically it has been there for years. And there's a lot of different theories of what it is. Conspiracy theories of what it is. It's a buzzing roughly every second or two, and from time to time the buzzing stops, and there's some Russian people talking, but it doesn't happen very often. So it's thought to be some sort of signal about military stuff in Russia. So I heard a little bit of the buzzing, and it comes from pretty much, from what I've understand, and the last I've read, it's like from outside St. Petersburg, Russia, roughly. Piet Mondrian student, receiving buzzer here, southern New Hampshire, Department of Offense. Matambali says 9100, so noisy, can't make out anything. IMAPper, Sunday. Oh, okay. It's the International Radio Report, IMAPper, that I am part of with Sheldon and David. On ckut.ca, you can stream it live at 1530 UTC. You can also go to ckut.ca and look at the schedule there. It's a 30-minute show about radio. It's aired here on a local station in Montreal in FM on 90.3. You can also listen to the shortwave broadcast, and there's several relays. One of them is 0130 UTC on Sundays, UTC time. That's Saturday evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, North America. Sorry, guys. Well, $96.90. $96.90. Spain, and they're having a good signal tonight. Spain has a good signal tonight. So people say the video is okay. So technically, you should just refresh if there's any buffering. Sean Fitzgerald, nice to have you here. Watching, listening from Syracuse, New York. Nice to have you on board. Matthew Wells, what is Part 15 license? Part 15 is an exception to the rules. So to broadcast, you should technically have a license. But Part 15 stations are exempt of this by abiding to two rules. You can't broadcast more than 100 milliwatt of power, and you can't use an antenna that is more than 10 feet long. If you abide by these rules, you are able to broadcast, for example, on the medium wave band, a station of your liking. You could choose an empty frequency, and if you abide by the rules, you're legal and you can broadcast through your house a little something. Part 15 station usually doesn't go very far, but a couple of houses maybe next. But it's a way of broadcasting. There's actually, you can build your own Part 15 license transmitter. You can buy Part 15 transmitters. There's some on eBay. And it's a way of you to transmit and stay within the regulations. You're allowed to do so. But a Part 15 station is not meant to go very far. That's why you got to abide by the rules of Part 15 licensing. So it's like, 100 milliwatts maximum power output, and which is 1/10 of a watt. And you have to obey the 10 feet maximum rule of an antenna. I operated a Part 15 AM station when I was a young teen, around 13, 14 years old. And I would call up my friends that lived a couple of houses near and tell them, hey, tune, 1110, I think I was using 1100 kilohertz back then. Tune 1100 kilohertz. You might hear me, and my next door neighbor would hear me. But my other friend that lived like across the street, he would just hear a very faint something. So Spain should be in English in the next few seconds or minutes. 9690 kilohertz. No problem, Tiraboski. Happy to be here. It's one of those things that you wanna. That's fun to share, and it's fun to share all the information. Yeah, Elizabeth, 4625 USB only. Absolutely. Mapper says 4625 is worse of Russia. Kind of. FX2 Mark 8, New York and the state of Florida are good areas for FM pirates. Yeah, I've seen a lot of pirates in these areas, absolutely. JD got the buzzer in Prince Edward Island on 4625 upper sideband. Woohoo! Buzzer's coming down the East Coast tonight. Pretty nice. Ray Lyle, has anyone heard anything about WWV shutting down? 2019 can find anything. No, I don't think they're going to shut down. We got to be careful because there was a lot of hype on the possible shutdown WWV because of financing. But as Sheldon, that I do the International Radio Report show, said, it's been almost every year for the past 4 or 5 years that they actually didn't have the financing. And nothing ever happened. So this time around, somebody picked up the story and hyped it up. Now that's a good thing because I think it helped a lot of people understand that exists and it's important. But I I was not scared that WWVH would actually be gone from shortwave. It's not something that I think is going to happen. There's a lot more people than we think that need these transmissions, honestly. Richard Cook says 6250 was the same as 9100. Oh, okay, cool. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. Your beautiful RSP1A working on this new year, 2019. Happy New Year, my friend. FX2 Mark 8, please do that QSL show. Well, yeah, Dave Todd, yes, do the QSL show. Okay, well, maybe next week. Maybe next week we can tune the bands and I'll go through the QSL collection. And you guys are going to see QSLs from a lot of QSLs from Station Past. And this is going to be a lot of I'm going to be totally in a state of, going back in time. I mean, when I look at my QSL collection, I go back when I was, a teen doing shortwave radio. Keegan says, I hope WWVH can stay on. Shady Pyro 90 says, I happen to find a website that shows a map of Brooklyn Pirate Radio. Oh. Brett Wayne says, yes, do the cards. Keegan says, yes, QSL cards. So maybe next week we could do that. Next week I could do the QSL card show. That'd be nice. And I mean, there's a lot of QSLs in here. Ray Lyle says, it's cool and sometimes sad looking at my QSLs. It's amazing how it will make you remember when you got those that in the mail, remember that time of your life. And I love those memories. I got tons of memories. You guys are going to see me totally nostalgic next week with the QSL cards. I will look at some of them and just remember when I was, 15, 14. I won't go into details, but my teenage years, I come from a family that's very complicated and very, very. I had tough when I was a teen. And I sometimes think that shortwave radio and QSLing and having a couple of friends around me that we were, kind of a little geeky, I think that saved my teenage years. It saved me from probably going into, something bad or whatever. I was involved in something that was just mysterious and marvelous and receiving QSLs from all over the world and letters in the mailbox all over the world. It was just amazing. And it was a nice kind of change to the regular life that I had back then. So, Scene Fitzgerald, what luck? Mail person just delivered a slinky antenna. I ordered off eBay. Cool. You're gonna have to tell us how it goes, man. Really nice. A lot of people are using that slinky antenna thing. Mad Radio DXer says excellent REE signal, but now they're just having some kind of music, vocal music. It sounds, sounds a little weird. Danny Shortwave says video and audio very good. Yeah, no, it seems to be holding on. Here everything's green, so when everything's green, it's pretty. I am amazed. You know what, guys? There's still 122 people watching after 3 hours and 8 minutes of show, which is just truly amazing. I can't believe that people get hooked to this stream and listen and watch for such a long time. Osberg Searchwave Blog says the Buzzer UVB76 is supposedly a channel marker. Yeah, that's what I've also read, that it's kind of a channel marker. And if something needs to be done, well, it's it's going to be, everybody, like the Russian military knows that frequency is available, basically. Matambali has Canadian invasion. Richard Cook, 9690, doing chanting. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have here. Keegan says 5,000 WWV, fading in and out at times. David says, it's curious that we're on a solar minimum now, yet there's still DX to be made from some sources on the weakish side of things. I mean, propagation can still be good enough, if you get what I mean. You know, David, that's one thing I like and I want to talk often about, because I see, you know, with the age of internet information, we have information about solar activity. I mean, like we never had before. I mean, when I was listening to Shortwave in the 80s and 90s, I had to wait for that daily propagation report on WWV. It was my only way of having information of what was happening on solar propagation. And I lived through, wow, how many cycles did I live through? So when I started listening in 82, we were at the downside of the cycle at that time. Then we went through a higher side of another cycle. Well, I went through like 3 cycles at least. But one thing for sure is that even on the downside of solar activity, even when solar activity is at the minimum, there is always something to be listened on shortwave. Yeah, frequencies might change and all, but when I see somebody post on a blog or on a group, oh, by the way, we're going to be a year, you know, I saw somebody post, and I'm not joking, I saw somebody post once, well, solar minimum has arrived, I won't turn on my ham radio before at least for 2 to 3 years. And all that it tells me is, okay, you have no idea what you are saying, and you have no idea what it means finally to be in solar minimum. Yeah, it's different. Of course, it makes it a little more difficult for certain signals and certain things. Here we go.
Composed of the 16th century Francisco Guerrero.
Stop the music and talk in English. Stop the music and talk in English. I hope that I'm not gonna. Yeah, I hope that just because it's like faded in the background, I'm not gonna get a copyright strike for that. That's what happened last time. That gave me a copyright strike. So if you guys see that there's missing like a couple of minutes of show, it's because of that. But you know, I mean, I see that, and I see people like just saying whatever. Oh, Candex at 6. I'm not turning on the radio tonight. Okay, you don't know what you're talking. You have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, if because the K-index at 6, you're not turning on your radio. I don't know. You shouldn't even be a amateur radio. I'm sorry. You don't know what you're talking about. Turn it on. You don't know what's going to happen, and you don't know what it's going to be like on the bands. It's surprising what you can have at any period of time. Yes, there are nights when it's just the crappiest thing in your life. It happened to me Wednesday. I sat down, like at this time, and I thought, hey, shortwave all evening. And after an hour of listening, I was like, man, the bands are dead. There's not a lot. I went down to the medium wave band a little bit, and then it's like, okay, I think I'm going to do some Netflix movies. I'm going to go check what's new on the Netflix tonight, because it's just too bad. It happens. And yes, there are times when the bands are so crappy that you just turn off the radio. But you can't look at numbers. You can't look at indices on the internet and decide, well, it's going to be crappy tonight, I'm going to listen. No, you have no idea. You might be very surprised at what could happen. Danny Shortwave says, a perfect example of part 15 is the Talking House AM transmitter. It has a wire antenna. It's used by real estate realtors. They go pretty cheap on eBay, 530 to 1700 kilohertz. It does not because it does not have 1710. So, you know, that's part 15. Yeah, some of them actually use that, absolutely. Brett Wayne says 4625 S1 in Salamanca, New York. Cool. Yeah, 1710 is not part 15, possibly. Scene Fitzgerald, 7690, sounding awesome. Yes, Radio Exterior España, absolutely. Hey, Matt. No show tomorrow. No show tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Saturday off. Next week's 2 shows. Hope you guys are enjoying this broadcast and having fun. For sure. What else do we have? Wow, McGlone had a storm and knocked the power out. We might have a snowstorm here on Tuesday. They're talking about like 30 centimeters of snow, which is what, a foot of snow? Which would be our first real snowstorm of the year. Well, of the winter season at least. Do they do something else than just music on 96.90 kilohertz? What the hell is that? What the hell is that music only thing? We have English. Please say something and talk. Stop putting music. Elizabeth, Re4625 USB, haha. Just outgrown the Eton Grundig Field BT I received for Christmas. The X375, 15 plus years. Field BT 5 weeks. Nice. Brian, what do we have? Dana F. Is there shortwave in heaven? Look, come on. I don't, I believe in that stuff, but one thing for sure, if heaven is all it's supposed to be, we're going to have amazing shortwave reception in heaven. DXing is going to be probably really something. Wow, apartment for defense. You're hearing oldies music on 16300. Really? Danny Shortwave. Radio hobby, model railroads, counter 64 kept me off the streets when I was young, growing up in the Bronx. Thank God. Well, pretty much the same thing here, Danny. You know what? Shortwave radio and Commodore 64. I was hooked. These were it was my bubble. Because life around me was really horrible. Really horrible. You guys should have seen how it was when I was young. I don't talk about it much because it's part of something I want to forget. But radio hobby and Commodore 64. I was in my bubble, in my little bubble, and the world outside just didn't exist. That's it. Ray Lyles has an 84. I'd done a science project in high school on shortwave radio. The teacher didn't even know about shortwave. I got an A on that. I would like to think I may have turned others onto shortwave. You know, Ray, I was in high school, the last year of high school, I was 16, in French class to give us a, to be able to give us a grade on our French language, spoken language. The teacher asked us to do a 20-minute bit on something we love and explain to it to the class. So I actually talked about shortwave. I mean, it was the thing. I had brought with me my DX302 desktop receiver. I brought with me letters from Radio Moscow, from Radio Berlin International, so we're in 1986, by the way, back then. And 1985, 86. And I remember everybody was amazed. Everybody was amazed, especially from the letters, because I had chosen letters. I had chosen, no one wants to know about Radio Canada International. But people are going to go nuts when they see Radio Moscow, Russia. Because the USSR was something. I mean, it was the Cold War. Everything was just weird. It was just crazy times. I remember everybody did 20 minutes. That's it. They had no more things to say. And I remember I did 1 hour. So, I was already back then, what I'm doing here, capable of talking for a long time. And I was 16. I did for 1 hour. Everybody was like, wow. The letters from that I received were going through the class. Everybody was looking at it, just amazed, showing QSL cards. And I remember I turned on the DX302 at a piece of wire, and noise was just okay so that I could tune in. And I heard Radio Moscow, French language. And everybody was like, what? Where's this coming from? It's coming from Russia. It's coming from the USSR. And you're hearing this signal here in the class with that little piece of wire and this radio. And everybody was just amazed. 25 years later, we had our 25th year reunion. And what amazed me the most was one guy that came up to me. He said, hey, Joe, how are you doing? Are you still listening to Shortwave? And I was like, what? He says, I still remember that shortwave radio thing you did in French class. And it was just so mind-boggling and amazing. And I was like, wow, one guy actually remembers that I did that. It was just, I was so surprised when the guy came up to me and says, oh, you still listen to shortwave? I was like, what? You remembered that? Man, amazing. Just amazing. Keith Grendel, nice to have you here. I love shortwave radio and radio in general. I learned a lot. Thanks, Joe. I'm happy to be here. I mean, you know, this is why this is cool. You know what, Dave says we really need a Facebook page or something we can exchange files, pictures, and discuss this a while back. Maybe I should do a page dedicated to the live shows. Maybe that could be the way to do it, because there's so many shortwave groups on Facebook, and I don't want to do competition there, because I already feel that I do compete with some things sometimes, you know. Yeah, Danny Shortwave. It happened to me the other time. You know what, Danny Shortwave? About a month ago, I did a live show, and in the background there was a song. The next day I look and it says, oh, by the way, your video is not available anywhere because that you got a copyright strike from UMG Universal. So your video is not available anywhere. I'm like, what? I did a 3-hour show to not have it anywhere? No. So I had to go back and go to where it is, cut out the 1 minute 30 seconds. It was like 1 minute of background music while I'm talking. And I was just going nuts. I was like, really? Seriously? Just crazy. Matthew Bally said, upside, if those hams tune out because of low soul spot numbers, there's less QRM for the rest of us. Man. Brad Wayne says, he talks on the radio every day. That's good. KC2NXP. That's what I would probably do when I'll get my ham license in 2019. Matambali says 160 meter can be excellent during low sunspot number in wintertime. Absolutely. David, great explanation. I agree completely. Yeah. Felipe BV, look out your window. Mike Hanna, talk on CB right now, which works well for me when Skip is in. I can't afford ham radio yet, but some I will. Okay, you think they're talking? Oh, they talk for a few seconds. Too much music. We want to hear talking. You never know what you might hear. Absolutely, Mike Hanna. Oxford Shortwave blog. Show. I also read that there's, if there were a nuclear exchange, the immediate effects of propagation of the buzzer signal would act as a warning to Russia. You know, that I'm not convinced, and you know why I'm not convinced about that, Oxford? Because I've read tons of things like that also. Remember when there's a really, really heavy hit on the geomagnetic field by a solar flare? I mean, the buzzer signal probably disappears anyways because it's already very high in latitude, closer to the poles. That means in a very strong geomagnetic storm, the buzzer signal would probably disappear. It doesn't mean we're in the middle of a, of any nuclear attack. So that's where that theory doesn't really go well with me. I'm more of it's a channel marker. It's a place where there's, I honestly, I place the buzzer. It's used differently, but I place the buzzer at the same place that I would put the U.S. Air Force emergency action messages on their frequencies. Same type of thing. It's not used in the same way. That's it. But I think it's just if we need to speak or do something, that channel is there, I would say. Keegan says, I use a talking house. I am a radio transmitter. Cool. Page Master had 3 inches of snow in Moore, Oklahoma last night. Whoa. Michael Maj says, if there is a heaven and if I am allowed in, I like the if there is one and if I'm allowed in, it might be just in that zone that radio signals from Earth are reaching and I might be able to hear signals from the 70s. Actually, that could be a cool thing. In heaven, it's like, I want to spend a day listening to Shortwave in 1975. I mean, how cool could that be? I want a good radio and listen in to a full day of Shortwave from, 1975. Oh, God. Yeah, fast load. I mean, it's the English language broadcast, and all she said, she introduced in English whatever was going on right now. I was like, what the hell is that? Maybe it's because of the New Year stuff. They're still, not back to normal. I would guess that's the thing. 40 over S9 all the time in heaven. No noise. Heaven has no noise. You know what? For a radio listener, heaven and hell is simply 2 things. If you're in heaven, you have low noise and all the DX is there. In hell, you have full noise and you hear brothers stare all the time. Now that's hell. I mean, come on. For eternity, brothers stare is the only signal you hear. Are we on hell? I mean, no. Man. Brian Penny says, I made a homebrew AM transmitter in 76. Played Jethro Tull Aqualung on vinyl to convince our teacher advisor that we should build a high school radio station. Oh, that's cool. Nick Mayakovsky. I started DXing in 1957 Philips B5X68A in the 60s when I was a kid. Nice. Wow. Yeah. Matambali. Danny Shortwave says you should do a Facebook. Yeah, I'm hesitating because I'll be in direct competition with a lot of people. That's why I've resisted the possibilities of doing one. Hey, French. 96.90 in French now.
Je vous souhaite, au nom de l'ensemble des rédactions de la radio publique espagnole, une bonne et heureuse année 2019. J'espère qu'elle sera prospère.
Happy New Year in French from Spain. Woohoo! Hey, you know what? Since they're back, I haven't heard the French language ever. It's the first time tonight I hear the French language. And you know what? I'm sad. The English language, all they did was play music. In French, they're actually having some program in French. What The hell is that? I mean, they should have had the same thing in English. I don't get it. Come on. David in Barcelona, you got to go talk to Radio Exterior España and say, what the hell are you doing? So, but there's a lot of music now. So I heard French. Woohoo! Ray Lyle says, well, I'm really being called to dinner. So take care, my friend Ray. Always nice to be here. Always nice to have all of you here. And by the way, one last selfish promotion. I'll call it like that. If you guys like what I do, PayPal donations are welcome. PayPal.me/shortwave. Or you can send it to the Yahoo email that you see here if it's you're already in your PayPal. Don't forget Patreon.com. Great place to be. Radio and computers. So Patreon.com/radio and computers. You can join 11 patrons, giving me a little something every month. Helps keep the show live. Helps me stay here. I mean, look at that. I've been talking for 3 hours and 31 minutes. And I hope you guys are enjoying the show. And, your donations help tremendously through 2017, 2018. Thanks to everybody that donated. I'm trying to reach out here to people that have never donated before and that watch me every time for years. Why not think about it? It helps me a lot. Thanks, guys. So you're watching the Shortwave Show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We're at 3 hours and 31 minutes. And you know what? I haven't done that in a long time. How about I open a Ford beer? I am a little drunk, but Ford beer. Cheers. Let's see if I can still get this in. I still can get this in the can perfectly, even centered. I'm not even drunk. So cheers, everybody. I'm gonna fill up the glass. 9690 right now in French is Radio Exterior de España, which is apparently soon to QSL again. So I think that could be a nice thing to do. QSL Spain once again. I mean, wow. And it's really nice to have everybody here. Radiocom, St. Joe, apologies for joining late. You don't have to apologize. Sorry. There's no need to apologize because you're late. I mean, there's nothing there. You get here when you can get here. I mean, there's so many things in life that prevent us from doing whatever we want. There's no need to apologize. You know what? Even if you come in the last 10 minutes of the show, it's just nice to see you. It's always cool to see everybody. Ronald Jorgensen, nice to have you here, Ronald. And thank you very much for being here. Really nice to be here. So let's go down. RCA 224 says the FCC has been really tolerant lately. I know they are arresting a lot of pirates, though. Calvin 2 says Shortwave's very good. Cool. Loves the show. Thank you. Page Master says sister stations for the buzzer is the Pip and the Squeaky Wheel. So, Fanny Xenakis, you were singing Aqualung. I just did the first few notes, and that's it. Danny Shortwave says Spanish has one more holiday after Christmas and New Year. It's Three Kings Day or Epiphany on Sunday, 6th. Then we are done. So, probably that's why they're still in the holiday season. Jose Luis Castan, nice to have you here. 9690 Radio Exterior de España. Absolutely. Oh man, I got a face for ham radio, says Warren. Well, that's a great face to actually have. Mike Hanna says there's actually a high school radio station here down south of us, 45 minutes or so. Redskin Radio, 89.7. Station that jams the nation. It is ran by high school students. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody. It's really, really, you know. And that's how the police test sobriety. Well, I would be pretty sober. It was like really centered. It was like perfect. Johnny the Xer. Colin 2 says, a long show. Love it. RC224, cheers. So cheers, everybody. Happy New Year, by the way. Hope that you all have the best ever. I want to forget 2018. Lots of things happened. 2019 is going to be amazing. Cheers, guys. Johnny the Xer's got a glass of scotch, calling my name after a short work week. Cool. Danny Shortwave. I'm on my third beer, Blue Moon Belgian White. Oh, you know what? When I go to, there's a bar that I go to. That's what I drink. The Blue Moon Belgian White. I love that beer. With a little slice of orange. It's amazing. Amazing. Casper Peterson. Hi, nice to have you on board, my friend. And Happy New Year. Cheers was filmed before a live studio audience. Pretty cool. Oh man, yeah, going well today, Callan too. I feel well. Dan Peterson says 9690 strong Northwest Ohio. Cool. Hey, Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you here. Just stopping in to show support. Have a great weekend. Take care, my friend. Make CB radio great again. I like that one. That's who we need to vote for. Let's vote for whoever wants to make CB radio great again. Amazing. That is what I want. That's what I want. Oh man, just amazing. Mike Anachistia, I've been drinking a homemade made myself, and I have to admit I'm feeling pretty dang good. Feeling good. WINB broadcasting DRM? No, it's not. Below 30 megahertz. Fort beer without going to pee? You're my era. Well, okay. There's one thing with that. When I started my evening drinking, I would drink probably 4 or 5 beer. I'm capable of like 3 or 4 pints, and I will not go pee. But when it starts, I will go pee every 10 minutes. Casper Pedersen, Shelley, you're lucky to understand French. I wonder if there are more French than German on shortwave. I guess English is the number one spoken. Is there more French than there would be German on shortwave? Possibly. I don't know. The dominating shortwave languages would probably be English, Spanish, and Chinese. I mean, with all the market there. But I mean, there's some French language. I know that there's some German language. How different would there be on shortwave of German versus French? An interesting question. The difference with German is that German is spoken in Germany a lot. There really ain't much German around the world apart from that. Where French is scattered across different areas. So it's scattered across here, the province of Quebec. It's, there's some African countries. There's some Pacific area countries that have French language. So, yeah, technically French probably should have more shortwave outlet than German does, honestly. I would guess, just by thinking about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why. France wanted to like dominate the world, and UK, the British wanted to dominate the world. So all of that scattered everywhere. But it's interesting to see that. I mean, I don't know how to say it, and please don't be, there's no offense in what I'm going to say, but I mean, Germany wanted to dominate the world, but they did it differently, and it didn't work out. Let's just say it like that. And please, I don't want to offend anyone in that comment. So I guess that's it, There are French colonies everywhere, and maybe that's the thing. I'm happy to actually speak French and understand it, for sure. Richard, I haven't heard Europe on medium wave in quite a long time, honestly. Quite a long time. Department of Defense got a Duchesse de Bourgogne Belgian sour beer. Oh, I'd like to taste that. Duchesse de Bourgogne, which is very French. And the Duchesse de Bourgogne. I'd like to try that. I like that. Department of Defense catheters are part of the radio set budget. Yeah, I got that little thing going on my leg, and there's a bag on the floor with pee. Oh, that's disgusting. Hey, G3ZEN, nice to have you here. Happy New Year from the Netherlands. Oh, man. Alvin Chipmunk has DX beer. Cool. That Mikkel the match. Never break the seal or you'll pee every half pint. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, Nick Mayakovsky's French is more widely spread. Absolutely. Keegan says 5:39 p.m. North American Central Standard Time here. 6:42 p.m. right now, so it's pretty much. Yeah, the Happy Station, Radio Netherlands. I miss that, Radio Netherlands. Radio Netherlands, there's one thing that I actually departed from, and it was a box with all the letters and documents from everywhere around the world. And I'm sad that I departed from that because Radio Netherlands had these great little booklets that you could actually ask for, where they would explain shortwave, antennas, they would have radio reviews. It was amazing. I miss those times. I really miss those times, honestly. Really miss. David says Chinese, Spanish, English. Languages spoken by highest amount of people in the world, so I guess it's kind of normal they're predominant. Yeah, absolutely. Mad Radio DX says Radio Austria International still broadcasts in German on shortwave. Also heard CRI do a German language. Yeah, there's a few. HCJB has a relay from Europe in German. There's a few. There are quite a few German transmissions out there for sure. Danny says English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese, then Chinese dominate shortwave. Endo, I look like an 8-bit guy, of course. I grew up with a Commodore VIC-20, then a Commodore 64. I have to. I like that. Have you ever heard CRA Esperanto language transmission? I don't think I ever, or if I did, I just didn't know it was that, honestly. Yeah, that helps a lot to Richard Cook. The fact that Europe is at 9 kilohertz helps me identify some of the signals. That's where I could hear, I think it was Norway on 13, 14 kilohertz when a long time ago, like 25 years ago, I could hear it on medium wave because it was off of the North American 10 kilohertz. Keegan has orange in the sky behind the trees from the sunset. As long as it's not orange in the sky from like a nuclear bomb, it's pretty cool. Department of Defense, yes, I believe it was AWR Wavescan, which played portions of Happy Station. Yeah, one station I've heard relays from, which is, it's from Australia. It's the Hobart Radio International. They've had many special broadcasts on old interval signals and broadcasts from old times from the 80s and stuff like that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Keegan. I'm sorry. From a sense, it is beautiful. Battery to the Extra says, I heard Esperanto program live from CRI, but this was some years ago now. I believe they still have one. I believe they still have Esperanto, if I'm not mistaken. So still 107 very courageous people watching me. That I'm surprised that they haven't gone bored yet with all that's being done and being said on the show. Oh God. Richard Cook's picking up carriers from North America here on Medium Wave. Wow, this is amazing. You have a really amazing setup, Richard. You should really be proud of it because I mean, it's darn impossible here. What is the here out of the blue here? What is the one of the strongest medium wave signals from Europe right now? I'll go in the medium wave band and we'll see if we can see the line of that transmission coming over here. I'm curious. Any frequency you guys would tell me, hey, tune that frequency on medium wave right now. I'd be curious to tune the medium wave band and look at the spectrum and see if I can actually hear something. Anybody has a suggestion of one of them? September Storm, nice to have you here from Turkey. Cool. Okay, Richard Cook. My local 957 kilohertz. Okay. Let's go to 957. Now I'll put down the RF gain because I know that I'm going to have a lot of problems. Is there anything I can see on 957 if let's say I just go here. We're going to look here. Okay, I've really expanded. I see something every 10 kilohertz, but I don't see anything in between at all. At all. At all. So 957, there's not even a peep, not even a little something. I mean, look at that. There's a big station here, 940 kilohertz. That's a local station here. That's the big thing you see here. 957 is here. There's absolutely nothing, not even a peep. The closest is 960. There's something on 960. Kind of interesting. I would have enjoyed, like, you know, kind of seeing something on, at least seeing something on the waterfall. Hello, Terminger says, still haven't heard a few months ago. Okay, so, okay. Alvin Chipmunk, yes, I do. It's been a while since I've listened to the shortwave radiogram. It's been a little while, but yes, I enjoy it. I love it. I just love it, for sure. Department of Defense says 1010 WINS, New York City was copyable last night. Wow, good news, 1008 shut down. It opened up DX possibilities. Yep, absolutely. I usually hear, you know, if I go to 1010, I usually hear CFRA Toronto. But the thing is, oops, 1010. But I need to listen in because 1010 here in Montreal is a battle. Most of the time I hear CFRX Toronto, but sometimes I hear WINS from New York. So I see it here. I have to listen for a while to see which one I am listening to, actually. Jerry DX says, SDR is beautiful. M. Blair, nice to have you here. I have played with, no, DMR and D-Star, not yet. I need to do it for sure, but not yet. PageMaster 930 is not a good idea because I will have some kind of local station on that one. Nick Mayakovsky, 585 Madrid. Huh, let's try that one. 585. 585. There's something weird here. This is off frequency. I'm hearing. Okay, let's just. Whoa. There's something wrong here. Let's put it 100 hertz. I'm gonna go back up to 1500. Go back down to 585. Why is there? Okay, that's interference probably. So I don't hear anything on. I am hearing. Okay, I don't know why, but it's off. 586. No, 580. Oh wait, yeah, 585. I got something on 584. What is that? I'm hearing Supertramp. I'm hearing Supertramp on 5854. I don't know, but that must be 580. I'm sorry, but there's something weird happening with my SDR because I'm wondering. I need to get a portable radio. Sorry guys, I need to get a portable radio here because something weird's happening and I need to clear that out. Okay, here's the Texan PL 600. Here's the Texan PL 600. And we're going. Sorry. I'm going to tune this one to 580. Okay, here's CFRA. What the hell? I'm hearing The Long Way Home from Supertramp. What the hell? Is that some local station? Okay. I'm getting an overload from 940 kilohertz on 580 something. Some kind of weird interaction. 940 kilohertz is very strong here in Montreal. And I'm getting some kind of weird signal or some kind of weird effect from 940 kilohertz. Yeah, take the long way home. So it's kind of, what the hell is that? Dan Peterson. Nice to have you here. If I'm drinking beer, I must be European. Well, long way back, yeah, technically. But I'm technically Canadian. So, you know. Oh, really? You got a PL600 for $20, Brad Wayne? Cool. I mean, it's nice radio. I'm happy with it. It's a really nice radio. Honestly. Well, Luis Castan says on 10:30 you can listen to WBC Boston. Wow, this is nice. This is nice. Madrid the Extra says 12:15 Absolute Radio in North America. 12:15. What's on 12:15? Anything here? Nope. Absolutely nothing here. I've got, you know, all the 10 kilohertz. Every station on 10 kilohertz in North America is there. But, nope. Nothing there. So I'm not even receiving a peep of anything from Europe here. Maybe it's the antenna I use also. Maybe it's not well suited for that type of listening. You know? WBZ is a regular here for sure. For sure. Well, it's half a joke, Dan Peterson, because I'm technically European from a long time ago. when my first ancestor came here in North America from France. Dennis says, when I drink beer, I'm always a peeing. Hey, the Drone Ranger. Nice to have you here, Mike. So, hey guys, we've been on for 3 hours and 56 minutes. And we're getting to 0-100 hours UTC. Hope you enjoyed the show. It was nice doing this show. Almost 4 hours. Kind of cool for the first show of 2019. Hope you guys enjoyed. So next week, what we will do is we will have a QSL show. Next week, Friday, I will be taking all the QSLs out. I'll be very, very nostalgic. And basically, we're going to check out what's going to happen with my QSL collection. And there's going to be stories around them. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And basically, you're tuning new knobs. Oh, yeah, Jerry. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And we'll be back next Friday, 2000 hours UTC. Friday, the 11th of January. Brett, send me a pic. Let me just check it out here. Oh, wow, with that antenna. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Look at that. We've got Mr. Brett PL600. The black one, because mine is the silver one. But it's this same radio here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Thanks for being great fans. I hope to and will be here throughout 2019 again and again and again, entertaining you guys with all the shows and everything. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being amazing people and amazing fans. It's just really, really cool. Sorry about that, Blair. And stay safe, please. Love you all. And we'll be back next week. 2 shows next week. Saturday and Friday. So Friday, 2000 UT. QSL show, tuning the bands. And Saturday, we'll, I don't know yet. We'll see what's up and what's to come. Take care, guys. Love you all. Stay safe. And tune the radios. Because that's the best way to learn about the world and to have fun. Bye, my friends. And love you all.